House of Representatives unanimously approves 3 key ordinances including voter list and parliamentary member election amendments. Leela Kumari Bhandari elected unopposed as Vice Chair of Nepal's National Assembly with cross-party support from lawmakers. Government takes steps to remove middlemen from public offices, aiming to streamline services and reduce corruption. Iran confirms death of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps intelligence chief Majid Khademi in US-Israeli strike. Rapid measles surge in Bangladesh prompts nationwide emergency immunization campaign amid rising child fatalities. And Army club clinches convincing 138-run victory over Karnali province to top premier one-day cricket tournament table. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World Primetime News coming to you live from Kathmandu at 1900 hours Nepal time. Elsewhere, it's 13:15 in London, 20:15 in Tokyo and just after midnight in Sydney. Now the news in detail. Nepal's House of Representatives has unanimously approved 3 significant ordinances today. These include amendments to voter registry, revisions to parliamentary member elections, and a second amendment to Nepal's Special Service Act. Home Minister Sudhan Gurung proposed the approval, emphasizing the need for smooth implementation. Earlier, Speaker Dol Prasad Aryal confirmed that no objection notices had been received regarding the bills. The measures aim to streamline electoral processes and update legal frameworks, marking a key development in Nepal's ongoing parliamentary reforms. The House of Representatives has formed a 15-member committee to draft new parliamentary rules. The proposal was submitted by Rashtriya Swatantra Party lawmaker Kavindra Burlakoti and approved unanimously. Ganesh Parajuli will serve as committee chair with members representing all parties in the House. Under the Speaker's general guidance, the committee will set its own procedures and has a 14-day time frame to complete its work. Until the new rules are finalized, the House will continue to operate under the 2079 parliamentary regulations, ensuring legislative continuity. Dol Prasad Aryal, the elected Speaker of Nepal's House of Representatives, has pledged to serve in a neutral and coordinating role. In his first presiding session, he urged lawmakers to ensure an active and effective parliament, emphasizing good governance and timely legislative work. Aryal called on all parties to put aside ideological differences and work together for national unity and development.
यहाँहरू जनताको प्रतिनिधित्व गरेर आउनु भएकोले कुनै पनि सदस्यलाई दलगत सहभागिताका आधारमा भेदभाव हुने छैन भन्ने स्पष्ट पार्दछु। संसदीय व्यवस्थामा सभामुख पदको गरिमालाई अझ उच्च बनाउने कार्यमा मेरो अहम भूमिका रहनेछ। संसदीय व्यवस्थाको सुन्दरता नै नीतिगत बहस, छलफल र निष्कर्ष रहने हुन्छ। यस कार्यको लागि संसद एक खुला विश्वविद्यालय सरह रहने कुरा व्यक्त गर्दछु।
The Speaker thanked all parties for supporting his uncontested election and stressed that the House should amplify citizens' voice, strengthen democracy and address social issues. The next session of the House has been scheduled for tomorrow at 1 p.m. Now, National Assembly has elected Leela Kumari Bhandari as its new Vice Chair. Bhandari, representing CPN Yamal, was elected unopposed after registering her nomination yesterday afternoon. The Assembly was informed today that no other candidates had come forward, confirming her uncontested election. The proposal for her appointment was presented by lawmaker Prem Prasad Dangal and supported by members of Nepali Congress, Janata Samajwadi Party and NCP. Bhandari's election marks a notable step in leadership representation within the upper house of Nepal's federal parliament. Members of the National Assembly raised concerns today over rising fuel prices, increasing inflation and economic challenges. During zero-hour discussions, lawmakers highlighted falling capital markets, road accidents, the situation of Nepali workers in West Asia and growing cybercrime. They urged the government to take measures to stabilize prices and mitigate the impact of two-day office and school holidays. The annual report of the Indigenous Peoples Commission for fiscal year 2081-82 was presented to the Assembly by Minister Sobita Gautam on behalf of Prime Minister Balendra Shah. We're going for a short break here. More news coming up. To stay with us. You're watching NTV World and this is Primetime News. Welcome back. Nepal Oil Corporation has urged consumers to use fuel responsibly amid rising shortages across the country. The request follows a cabinet decision to close government offices and educational institutions this Saturday and Sunday, which may increase travel demand. Spokesperson Manoj Thakur said the corporation is currently losing 120 Nepali rupees per litre, highlighting the strain on supply. Authorities have called for careful management to ensure smooth distribution of petroleum products and avoid disruption to public services. Officials emphasize that responsible fuel use is essential during the upcoming holiday period to prevent further shortages and maintain stability. The government has begun efforts to make all public offices free of middlemen, aiming to reduce delays and corruption. Previously, intermediaries often demanded illegal payments, even for small tasks, forcing citizens to repeatedly chase services. With increased monitoring, offices such as Transport and Land Revenue have reported smoother, faster service, allowing citizens to handle work directly. Officials say while technology adoption is still limited, early results indicate improved efficiency, although some users have requested help desks to guide them. The government has emphasized that public awareness and staff accountability are crucial to making services transparent, quick and citizen-friendly. Now, every year, thousands of new students get enrolled in school, starting their educational journey. The parents of the new students are worried about the admission fees, which the private schools charge arbitrarily. The admission fees are not spared to the parents of the students who are upgraded to higher class, although under different guise. Smita Gising Tamang brings a report.
As Nepal enters the new academic session, the financial burden on parents has reached a breaking point. While the law is clear, the practice on the ground tells a different story. On Sunday, April 5, the Ministry of Education issued a stern directive. The notice warns of action to the schools that are flagrantly violating the provisions in the education regulation. The ministry has directed to stop collecting annual fees and other unauthorized fees.
एनुअल फी अथवा अरू प्रकारको फीहरू अथवा जति फीहरू लिन पर्ने हो विद्यालयले शुल्क लिन पाउनेको लागि निश्चित शुल्कको प्रबन्ध गरेको छ। एउटा शुल्क मापदण्ड सम्बन्धी एउटा हामीसँग के भने कानुन छ या नियमावलीको व्यवस्था छ, नियमको व्यवस्था छ। त्यसले शुल्कका मापदण्डहरू, शुल्कका शीर्षकहरू, शुल्कको सीमाहरू सबै तोक्दिएको छ। त्यसभित्र बसेर शुल्क लिन पर्यो विद्यालयले। लिगल रिक्वायरमेन्ट, यो रिक्वायरमेन्ट जो विद्यालयहरूले पूरा गर्दैन त्यो विद्यालयहरूको काम गैर कानुनी भयो। गैर कानुनी कामको लागि तपाईको कसले रेगुलेट गर्छ भन्दाखेरि स्थानीय सरकार विद्यालय सञ्चालनको लागि विद्यालयको रेगुलेसनको लागि फाइनल अथोरिटी हो नेपालमा।
The scale of this industry is massive. Estimates suggest private schools across Nepal collected roughly 15 billion rupees in annual fees this session alone, with 5 billion concentrated right here in the Kathmandu Valley. However, school representatives argue that the hefty fee label shouldn't apply to everyone. They point to a specific classification system that allows a small elite group to charge significantly more.
नेपाल सरकारले नै यो निजी स्कुलहरूले 1 महिना बराबरको एनुअल फी लिने भन्ने खालको जुन निर्देशन गरेको छ र त्यो बाहेक उले ब्रेकडाउन गरे यो शीर्षकमा जस्तो परीक्षामा लिन पाउने, त्यसै गरी अतिरिक्त क्रियाकलापमा लिन पाउने, लाइब्रेरीमा लिन पाउने, प्रयोगशालामा लिन पाउने यी विविध खालका शुल्कहरू नेपाल सरकारले तोकेको छ र त्यो तोकेको अनुसार नै स्कुलहरूले फी लिएको हो। तर केही स्कुलहरू एकदम नगण्य स्कुलहरूले चाहिँ अलि बढी फी लिएको भन्ने खालको बजारमा चाहिँ कुरा भएको हुँदाखेरि समग्र स्कुलहरूलाई त्यही एउटा बास्केटमा हालेर कुरा गरेको हुँदाखेरि समग्र निजी शैक्षिक संस्थाहरू बदनाम भएका हुन्।
Beyond the base fees, parents are still being squeezed for student development funds, repeated admission charges, and security deposits. There is also the growing trend of forced tie-ins, where parents are compelled to buy uniforms and books directly from schools at inflated prices. The government has acted. The courts have weighed in. But for the millions of parents waiting for relief, the question remains: will local governments finally enforce these directives with real consequences, or will these warnings remain just paper tigers as in the past? With camera person Rasila Shrestha, Smitu Gising Tamang reporting for NTV World.
Textbook distribution is underway across Sudar Paschim province in far western part of Nepal with the aim of reaching schools before the new academic session begins. Janak Education Materials Centre's provincial office in Dhangari has prioritized districts in remote areas. It has completed the book deliveries to Bajura and Darchula districts and is dispatching books to several others. Around 400,000 textbooks have already been distributed through local vendors. The centre plans to supply all 9 districts by mid-April with a total target of about 1.65 million books. Officials say there is no shortage so far and any gaps will be addressed through a second phase of distribution. The construction on the Dudhaura Bridge in Pithalaya, Thalkebar section of the East-West Highway in Bara in central Nepal has been halted since February 22nd, causing problems for passengers and locals. The Mahadev Khimti Hirachan JV company, contracted in 2018 to complete the bridge in 3 years, has shown no urgency even as 8 years near completion. Around 30 riverside families suffer from dust, smoke and health issues due to the stalled work, while thousands of vehicles are forced to use risky detour daily. Contractor Ravi Singh claims electricity poles and trees are blocking work, but locals say these do not hinder construction. The 4-lane 90-meter bridge is 85% complete, with connecting roads on both sides still pending. Authorities in Dhading have launched a crackdown on cruel livestock transportation along highways, especially targeting trucks entering Kathmandu. Despite laws prohibiting cruelty, animals like buffaloes, goats, pigs and poultry are often overcrowded, tied by tails and restrained with ropes, causing severe distress in the animals. Daily violations continue in the livestock transportation across the country and especially in the dozens of trucks entering Kathmandu, with authorities admitting past enforcement as weak. Nepal's estimated annual production of livestock is around 500,000 metric ton, but animal welfare and cruelty prevention have received limited attention in its plans and policies, including its recently unveiled 100-point action plan. A team of the Federation of Nepali Journalists held a meeting with Minister for Communications and Information Technology, Dr. Bikram Timal Sinha. The discussion featured a recent decision of the government on advertisement. The Federation delegation, led by its chairperson, Nirmala Sharma, drew the minister's attention towards the directive issued by the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers on 1st of April. The directive had mandated the publication and broadcasting of government notices and advertisements only on government media. On the occasion, Minister Dr. Timal Sinha made it clear that the amount of government advertisement was grossly misused, working journalists were not benefited, and brokers were taking advantage of the previous scheme that prompted the government to issue such directive. The minister, however, informed that he was always working for journalists and vowed meeting genuine demands. International news coming up next after this short break. Iran says the intelligence chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Majid Khademi, was killed in a U.S.-Israeli strike on Monday morning. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz, announcing the killing, said that Iranian leaders live with a sense of persecution and vowed that Israel would continue to pursue them one by one, framing the operation as part of ongoing military efforts amid the wider conflict.
עודכנתי על ידי הרמטכ"ל שצה"ל סיכל הלילה בטהרן את מג'יד חדמי, ראש ארגון המודיעין של משמרות המהפכה, אחד האחראים הישירים לפשעי המלחמה האלה, אחד משלושת הבכירים ביותר בארגון. משמרות המהפכה יורים על אזרחים ואנחנו מחסלים את ראשי המחבלים. מנהיגי איראן חיים בתחושת נרדפות, נמשיך ונצוד אותם אחד אחד.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump reportedly set a deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by 2000 Eastern Time on Tuesday. In a statement directed at Iranian infrastructure, he warned that Tuesday would be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one, and added that there will be nothing like it. Iranian officials on the other side responded by warning that any U.S. action could prompt much more devastating retaliation, underscoring rising tensions over the strategic waterway and ongoing Middle East conflict. Oil prices climbed today as well on continuing fears of supply losses because of shipping disruptions in the key Middle East producing region from the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. Brent crude futures rose $1.71 or 1.6% to $110.74 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained $0.71, which is 0.6% to trade at $112.25 per barrel. On Thursday, the last trading day before the Good Friday holiday break, WTI settled up more than 11% and Brent soared nearly 8% in volatile trading, recording their biggest absolute price increase since 2020 as U.S. President Donald Trump promised to continue attacks on Iran. The Strait of Hormuz, which carries oil and petroleum products from Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait and the UAE, remains largely closed by Iranian attacks on shipping after the war began on 28th of February. Oil tankers and container ships are positioned off the coast of India's financial capital of Mumbai after several Indian-flagged liquefied petroleum gas carriers passed through the Strait of Hormuz amid ongoing Middle East tensions. Iran effectively halted maritime traffic through the crucial waterway on 28th of February following U.S.-Israeli strikes, disrupting one of the world's busiest shipping lanes for crude oil and gas. Despite the blockade, India has secured passage for a number of its vessels, with at least 8 Indian-flagged LPG carriers transiting the strait since early March and making their way toward Indian ports, including Mumbai. Authorities say continued shipments are critical as India remains heavily dependent on Middle Eastern energy supplies, particularly for LPG, even as diplomatic engagements continue to secure safe passage through the region's volatile waters. A short break here. Do stay tuned for more news. Ukraine's emergency services have pulled survivors and recovered bodies after a Russian strike on the southern port city of Odessa, killing 3 people, including a child. Multiple strikes have triggered large-scale fires across several areas, causing extensive damage to buildings, vehicles and infrastructure. Authorities continue rescue operations while fire crews work to contain the blazes and prevent further casualties. Officials warned residents to remain vigilant as the city faces ongoing attacks, and local emergency services have urged people to follow safety protocols amid continued airstrike alerts. Bangladesh has launched an emergency vaccination campaign after a fast-spreading measles outbreak is suspected of killing more than 100 people, mostly children, in what may be the country's most lethal wave of disease in recent history. The campaign, which began on Sunday, comes amid more than 7,500 suspected measles cases since 15th of March, according to Health Ministry. More than 900 of these cases have been confirmed, a sharp increase from 2025 when just 125 cases were recorded over the entire year, local media report. While Bangladesh has long vaccinated children against the highly contagious disease, the recent outbreak has exposed gaps in its program, raising concern. At least 121 people have died over the past 2 weeks in Afghanistan and Pakistan due to extreme weather, disaster officials in both the countries have said. Authorities are continuing rescue and relief operations amid ongoing rainfall, while dozens of trucks and other vehicles remain stranded on the flooded highway connecting Herat and Islam Kala in Zinda Jan. Local authorities have warned travelers to avoid flooded areas, and emergency shelters have been set up for stranded drivers. The region continues to face heavy rainfall, raising fears of further flooding and disruptions. Aid agencies, meanwhile, are appealing for urgent assistance to help those affected. Artemis astronauts entered the final phase of their run-up to a lunar loop on Monday, a tipping point of sorts that means the moon's gravity is now having a stronger pull on the spacecraft than Earth's. The Orion capsule will now whip around the moon, setting the crew up to travel farther from our home planet than any human before. Meanwhile, NASA said that astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft marked Easter with light-hearted activities during their journey toward the moon. The agency reported that the crew had hidden Easter eggs around the cabin and awarded Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen a gold pin. Astronaut Christina Koch said that they had hidden a few eggs in the cabin, adding that they were the dehydrated scrambled egg variety, but that the crew was happy with them. NASA noted that such activities helped maintain morale and camaraderie on long-duration missions. And with that, we move on to Sports Update. In Nepal's Prime Minister Cup one-day cricket tournament, Tribhuvan Army Club defeated Karnali Province by 138 runs. Batting first at Narayani Cricket Ground in Birganj, Army posted 268 runs in 48 overs, led by Arjun Saud's century of 121. Karnali, chasing 269, were bowled out for 130 in 42 overs, with Shahab Alam and Bashir Ahmed taking 3 wickets each. With 6 matches played, Army now tops the points table with 11 points, followed by Sudur Paschim Province with 10 points from 6 games. Manchester City assistant manager Pep Lijnders has confirmed that Captain Bernardo Silva will leave the club at the end of the season. The 31-year-old Portugal international, who joined from AS Monaco in 2017, has made 450 appearances and won 6 Premier League titles and the Champions League as well. Lijnders expressed hope Silva would receive a proper farewell, saying he deserved full recognition for his contributions. Renowned for his versatility, technique and work rate, Silva has been a key figure under Pep Guardiola. He will leave as a free agent, joining Liverpool's Mohamed Salah as one of the major Premier League departures this season. Before wrapping up, here's a reminder of the headlines this hour. House of Representatives unanimously approves 3 key ordinances, including voter list and parliamentary member election amendments. Leela Kumari Bhandari elected unopposed as Vice Chair of Nepal's National Assembly with cross-party support from lawmakers. Government takes steps to remove middlemen from public offices, aiming to streamline services and reduce corruption. Iran confirms death of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps intelligence chief Majid Khademi in US-Israeli strike. Rapid measles surge in Bangladesh prompts nationwide emergency immunization campaign amid rising child fatalities. And Army club clinches convincing 138-run victory over Karnali province to top premier one-day cricket tournament table. That's it for this edition of Primetime News here on NTV World. Our next bulletin will be at 2200 hours Nepal time. To join us through our social media and also get the latest update from our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I'm Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thanks for staying with us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu, Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories bloom.
When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterland. Reports. Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
Bagmati province boasts the federal capital Kathmandu, which is the center of attraction. Kathmandu Valley is a tourism hub of Nepal, as it has the only operational international airport of the country. Kathmandu is also the only entry point for those reaching Nepal by air. Bagmati province is also the place with the most tourist destinations and tourism-related activities. This province offers several attractions for both domestic and foreign tourists. Today, we take you to some of the beautiful destinations of Bagmati province, which is rich in culture and heritages. The capital of Nepal, the place with most tourist destinations, major destination for both domestic and foreign tourists. Province rich in culture and heritages. It is a beautiful valley of 3 districts, Kathmandu, Bhaktapur and Lalitpur. The valley offers best environmental conditions. The region is also considered exceptional in terms of historical, cultural and natural artifacts and political history. Let us visit first Pashupatinath, which is popular around the world among Hindu pilgrims. This is Pashupatinath temple. Lord Pashupatinath is the real name of Lord Shiva. Pashupatinath temple and the premises have long been the center of faith of Hindus around the world. It is one of the 7 World Heritage Sites in Kathmandu Valley. We now take you to another significant heritage in the valley, which is Swayambhunath. A popular monastery located in the west of Kathmandu. Thousands of tourists reach Swayambhunath every day. Foreign tourists who reach Kathmandu do not miss out on Swayambhunath, while domestic visitors flock to this heritage on holidays. Swayambhunath is one of the preferred destinations of tourists in Kathmandu. Another heritage is Bodhanath. Bodhanath is the center of faith for Buddhists. This is the largest hemispherical stupa of Nepal. The monastery is built on massive 3 layers. The heritage has become a preferred destination for both domestic and foreign tourists. Let us now go to Basantapur Darbar Square of Malla era in Kathmandu. This place can be a significant destination for those with an interest of study and research of history and handicrafts of the Malla era. This heritage holds a unique significance because of its location in the heart of Kathmandu with a lot of human movement. Basantapur Darbar Square draws both domestic and foreign tourists alike. Moving on, we head to Bhaktapur, which is rich in Newari culture. Bhaktapur Darbar Square is considered significant not only for its history, but also for its culture, art and handicrafts. with the objective of promoting nighttime tourism in Kirtipur, Lalitpur and Bhaktapur. Yes, Bhaktapur is the smallest district of Nepal. However, it is the richest in terms of heritages. If you reach Bhaktapur but do not make it to Changunarayan, that would leave your trip incomplete. We are now taking you to Changunarayan temple to complete your Bhaktapur visit. This temple, which is located just 6 kilometers north of Bhaktapur city, is not only significant for its historic, artistic and religious aspects, but also for tourism. This temple, which is considered the oldest in the valley, was listed in UNESCO's World Heritage Sites in 1969. We now move on to Lalitpur, also known as Patan. Of the popular 3 cities of Kathmandu Valley, Patan is considered the oldest. Patan Darbar Square is located in this city. Extraordinary works of Newari art and craft can be seen in this region, which has been decorated with cultural heritages since the 17th century. Such richness tends to draw the tourists. Locals in Kathmandu might have visited all destinations around the city. However, these destinations could be new to foreign tourists and those from outside the valley. These are a few destinations for hiking around Kathmandu for a brief escape from the city. Let us now go to a few tourist destinations near Kathmandu for a couple of nights. Sauraha is one of the major tourist destinations of Nepal. It is considered the best destination for wildlife tourism. The main objective of reaching Sauraha is to visit the Chitwan National Park. Elephant ride, jeep safari and jungle walk are the ways to visit the national park. Most of the tourists find elephant ride the most interesting. Boating must not be missed in Sauraha. Watching the crocodiles in their leisure at the Rapti river bank is a pleasing feeling. Birds from up to Siberia can be seen during winter. A view of the sunset from the bank of Rapti river, a ride in horse, an ox cart, and Sauraha market area are other attractions of this place. Haru dance and culture further entertain the tourists. One of the most popular trekking trails of the world, Langtang National Park, lies in Bagmati province. Let's have a look at the specialities and attractions of Langtang. Langtang, which spreads across 6,440 meters in Sindhupalchok, Nuwakot and Rasua districts, is the first national park of the mountainous region. National park includes popular mountainous valley Langtang, Hinjing and the pilgrimage site of Gosai Kunda. Separate trails lead up to Gosai Kunda and Langtang Valley inside the Langtang National Park. Rare species of red panda, snow leopards, and wild dogs, among other animals, can be seen during treks in the region. The range of mountains, wild animals, bird watching, valleys, and Gosai Kunda, among other water bodies, are the major attractions of Langtang. Ruby Valley. Ruby Valley near Langtang is a new tourist destination. Ruby Valley in Dhading district is the closest destination to Kathmandu for trekking. Ruby is a precious stone. The valley is named Ruby Valley as precious stones including ruby and quartz are found here. Wild animals at the verge of extinction including red panda, mountainous range, lakes, beautiful settlements, yak, traditional cattle rearing, Votekosi and Trisuli river rafting. Rafting has lately been gaining popularity among tourists. The adventure sports, which previously was popular only among foreigners, is now drawing the local tourists as well. Trisuli and Votekosi rivers that are close to Kathmandu are two popular destinations for rafting in Bagmati province. Let us first explore Votekosi. Whitewater rafting at Votekosi river is included among the 10 best adventure destinations for rafting in the world. Votekosi, which is well facilitated with food and accommodation, can be a great destination for rafting and other adventure sports. Rafting at Trisuli River is popular among domestic tourists, as the location can be reached in an hour from Kathmandu. This is where most tourists go for rafting in Nepal. Rafting packages of Votekosi and Trisuli are appropriate for those who want to spend some good time for a few days. Alongside trekking, jungle safari, rafting, city charm and natural sceneries, Bagmati province is equally a good tourist destination for religious tourism. Bagmati province is also popular for religious tourism. There are some major religious shrines in the province. Bhimeshwar of Dolakha is one of the most popular religious destinations of the country. Based on the legends, any bad omens in the country are signaled by the statue of Bhimeshwar. Kalinchok has increasingly become the first preference of tourists in recent times. With the operation of cable car in Kalinchok now, it has increased the attraction for tourists. There is a religious belief that wishes are fulfilled after visiting Kalinchok DT. Gosaikunda, located in Rashwa district, which shares border with Tibet over China, is a very important religious and tourist destination. Religious fairs are held twice a year in Gosaikunda during Dasara and Janai Purnima. This is a great destination for those who prefer trekking and are of spiritual nature. Devghat Dham, along the border of Chitwan and Tanaho, is a well-established religious place among Hindus. Many followers reach this place on the day of Mange Sankranti. This is a popular religious destination among elderly people. There are immense possibilities of tourism in Bagmati province. There are no doubts on tourism aiding in prosperity of the province. However, it is imperative to promote domestic tourism alongside prioritizing foreign tourists. Bagmati province is ahead of other provinces in regards to tourism infrastructures. Most of the tourist destinations are linked by road networks, while there are airway services in many others to reach in a short period of time. Sound arrangements of hotels and homestays have been made for food and accommodation. Therefore, let us travel the country to keep the economy moving and achieve prosperity.
Dai Lake in Karnali province is a geographically remote district, yet rich with untapped potential for tourism. Stepping into Dai Lake, celebrated as a treasure trove of Khas art, culture and heritage, brings a unique sense of joy. Journey begins amid its natural beauty, leading us toward Mahabu rural municipality. As we leave the mid-hill highway, the terrain becomes challenging, with hilly, muddy roads demanding patience and skill. Long lines of vehicles crawl carefully along the cliffs, reflecting both the difficulty of the route and the enduring devotion of Mahabu Dham. Many travelers choose to continue on foot, advancing step by step toward their destination. Passing through Channa, Dasarathi, Okharbans, Bhavsaini, Noli and Unipata, pilgrims ascend the slopes toward Lisne before finally reaching Mahabu Patan. Pilgrims from Dai Lake and nearby districts often arrive late at night, having begun their journey the previous day. The path to Mahabu Dham is thrilling, adventurous and breathtaking, made even more dramatic by the steady rain, drifting fog and steep inclines. Yet the journey itself feels uniquely rewarding. Mahabu Lake or Mahabu Dham, located within Mahabu rural municipality, is a remarkable place of natural beauty, religious significance and cultural heritage. Situated at an altitude of 4,200 meters, the area is adorned with emerald lakes, grazing flocks of sheep and goats, and a sky that dances with Himalayan mist. Every year, during Janai Purnima, a grand fair is held here, drawing thousands of devotees from across the region. Mahabu Dham's spiritual importance is deeply rooted in the ancient worship of Lord Shiva, revered here as the origin site. From Mahabu Lake, visitors can enjoy magnificent views of Api and Saipal Himal, and on clear days, even the plains of Bardia. Given its religious importance and natural splendor, Mahabu Dham holds immense potential as a religious tourism destination. Improving the rough, narrow access roads is essential for supporting this growth. Mahabu Dham is more than a pilgrimage site. It is a confluence of culture, history, faith, and nature. To truly appreciate its significance, one must visit Mahabu Lake at least once, immerse oneself in its natural beauty, and experience the serene environment that leaves a lasting impression.
Today we have a very special guest joining us all the way from the beautiful hills of Virginia. Tara Linhart, an award-winning musician who is known for blending Appalachian bluegrass with Nepali folk sounds. Tara has performed on some of the biggest stages in the US and has a deep connection with Nepal's music and art. And joining her is Prince Nepali, a talented sarangi player, music educator and a generational musician continuing his family's rich musical legacy. Please welcome Tara Linhart and Prince Nepali. So when Appalachian bluegrass and Nepali folk music come together, what do you think it connects to the bigger world, and what is the core of this music?
Music is music, and notes are notes. And the Appalachian music And some of the Nepali music, it just has some of the same groove and same feel, and even very similar melodies,
right?
And also themes within the lyrics, and so they blend really well. And so I think hopefully it'll be more and more, but there should be a lot of cross fertilization of ideas between the two musics, because they sound great. I mean, we play a Nepali song and then a Appalachian song, and it sounds similar, same.
So you're saying that American folk instruments and Nepali folk instruments are somehow parallel to each other.
They work really well together. And the Nepali sarangi, we recorded it, a friend of mine, Danny Nicely, and we recorded a bunch of sarangi music many years ago, probably a little after 2000 or something. And we brought just the sarangi music without the bansuri and the model, and we brought it back to America, and we played it for some of the Appalachian style, like bluegrass and old time, we call it the paharakogit, from the Appalachians. We played it for the professional violin players. We call them fiddle players there. And we said, where do you think this person is from? What is this? And they said, well, it's definitely Appalachian fiddle playing. I almost know the song, but I don't know the song, so it must not be in my state. It must be in the next state over, because I almost feel like I know it, but I don't. And then we said it's a sarangi and it's in Nepal, and they'd be like, blew their minds because it's so similar.
So fiddle is from you're from Virginia, right?
Yes.
So fiddle is this instrument called fiddle from another state, or how does it?
Basically whenever you're traveling, you see the folk and the local thing, It's not like you don't have a proper posture to it, and then it's basically how the lifestyle is more about, how you play. The music is more about the lifestyle that you
and
find
for fun,
in people. And also for fun, mostly for the community music and everything.
Like
we gather up. Play.
If you see, I've spent a lot of time in some of the Gandharva villages, and when there's no audience and they're just them, they're playing because they want to play and they enjoy the music, and their kids are dancing and their kids are learning to play, growing up from a young age. And it's the same thing in the Appalachian Mountains, which is interesting, because a lot of the city people in the United States have no idea about Appalachian culture in the United States, which is quite funny. If you ask a lot of people throughout the United States, especially from urban areas, but any place that's not in that little middle Appalachian zone, if there is raksi, if there's moonshine, and they'll say, no, there used to be, maybe 100 years ago, doesn't exist now.
I think
However,
people around the world have this misconception that Americans, even us, like our generation, they don't have culture per se. But like the sarangi, we have our own community-based musical instruments, like the sarangi. The Tamangs have the tungna, the damfu.
Absolutely,
and we have the madal. So can you tell me
our
what
traditional
are
instruments?
instruments?
So yes, we have the mandolin. And each of these, because the United States is such an immigrant place, a lot of them were brought over. So mandolins were brought over, I think, by the Italians initially, because the Italians were very well known for making them. I think the guitar came from the Spanish coming over. The banjo came from Africa and was modified in the United States. This was also, the Italian mandolins had a big round back on them. But then the Americans, Orville Gibson actually figured out you could make it just concave like a violin or fiddle. So you have the basic, also upright bass is very common. So you have bass, guitar, mandolin, banjo, fiddle, which is violin. But yeah, so that, and people will just play on their porch the exact same way that like a Gandharva community would just play on their porch. They finished doing the farming, they play music for fun. And now, of course, with the evolution of post-industrialization, people are specializing.
Prince, what about the sarangi?
Sarangi is actually mostly played by the people here, called Gandharva. So Gandharva mostly came from the west actually, western part of Nepal mostly, and now they're all over Nepal actually. And I think Tara is actually has done a lot more work on Gandharva as well. So she's been like taking some documentaries from back then, you know. And yeah, I think the Gandharva people, so the king, like every ethnic group had their own jobs to do. So Gandharva people were given the musical thing where they used sarangi and their vocal. So back in the days when there was no means of communications like televisions and radios, So Gandharva people, they used to go around the village, give the message to the people. So basically by storytelling or singing the song,
bringing the news.
Bringing the news, actually, and going from village to village. Talking about me, I'm the 4th generation in my family to play this instrument. So everybody in my family is like, we come from a Gandharva family, and everybody in my family played like sarangi or madal or somebody singing, That's amazing part of it, actually.
So, Prince, how did you start playing the sarangi?
Sarangi, was always at home, basically. So, so I used to see like my father, and he's been playing music all his life.
Grandfather as well.
So yes. So yeah, Mangar Kansa Nepali is my great grandfather. I started really young when he didn't force me to play anytime. But I was like so inspired by just looking at him, how that music could change like the whole ambience there. So
it also brought him to different countries and different places. And one story that I know that his father had told me was that he was playing a concert in France, and so he asked, everyone's like, you have to see the Louvre, the big museum there. And he said, I wonder if there's any Nepali music in here. Can we find out? And they went and they looked, and it was his grandfather. Had been recorded as a child, and he was in the Louvre Museum, which is pretty.
Yeah, I listened to that music, and it was so amazing. That's what I'm like. What Tara told before was like the connection of like the style of playing. In like most of the part of the world, when you listen to fiddle and sarangi, it sounds so close. You cannot like recognize it's from Nepal or like from the US. It just gets connected to you. In different forms. So. Yeah, and I started like when I was 7, just playing, a few songs and just imitating my father, how he used to play.
And then it became your passion.
And yeah, it became part of my life.
And your brother also is a musician?
Yes, my brother, he's a singer actually. He does play like a Nepali rhythm, like Madhul Dhime. But he's a very good singer. It's called Prijal Nepali. So he's done many commercial songs at the moment, and yeah.
My friend that I made a documentary called The Mountain Music Project, going back and forth between Virginia and our Pahar Gogit and mostly the Gandharva as focus. But he became a very gifted professional musician, and his father says the way that I got him to play music was I'd leave all the instruments out in the room, and I'd leave the house and I'd say, don't touch them. And they'd leave knowing that if you tell a kid not to touch the instruments,
that's true.
They're there, and they watch their parents having
so
fun
nice.
with it all the time. Some people think, I'm going to make my children play, and they'll give them some classical lessons or something, and they have to sit, and they have to play for a certain amount of time. It makes the kids often get a bad taste in their mouth from it. But if you just demonstrate how fun it is, it's like a game you get to play, but you have to know how to play the game. Then all the kids want to play the game. They want to be involved.
Right.
And then also he got the extra thing where his dad was like, all right, don't touch that. And then as soon as his dad would leave, he'd look in and be like,
this is very amusing to me. Like, you all the way from Virginia, you as an undergraduate student, you were here in the 90s in Nepal.
Yes.
So how did that happen, and how did you meet his father?
Well, I have to say in the 90s, I did not get connected with the Gandharva community yet. I got connected with the Newari community. So I was here as a University of Wisconsin student, and I traveled with an environmental NGO called ECA around Nepal, which was very interesting. I studied tabla with Homnath Upadhyay, who I ended up meeting his son at a gig after we played together in America. And I also studied with Shambhuji Mishra. But I spent most of my studies in Bagmati studying wood carving. So I studied with Puniraj Tulador, which was quite an honor because he's a brilliant wood carver. And I lived with his family. And Shanta Tulador is now an amazingly good wood carver. And so is Purna Lakshmi, who's a female wood carver. And I believe one of the only full-time, like, really top-notch female wood carvers that I know of.
Bagmati is actually the capital of wood carving in Nepal, right? So you've not only experienced the music here, but also the other arts and architectures as well. So how were you interested in the wood carving?
How could you not be interested in wood carving? Like, I came to Nepal, I didn't know much about it, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah,
I mean, it just blew me away, you know,
right,
just
right.
seeing them working. And I was like, wow, can I learn that? And luckily, the University of Wisconsin at that time had a program here, which was very open-ended and pretty much let us study anything, as long as we wrote a 100-page paper at the end. And so I ended up writing my paper just about Bagmati and anything I could find about it, because I spent most of my time carving wood. And then at the end, I was like, oh, I have to write my paper. But
It sounds amazing, though.
It's an amazing opportunity, and I still am connected with them, and they're like family now, because I've known them since they were little kids, and now they have kids. And their kids
So
are
this early connection in your life with Nepal's art and culture is what inspired you to do music.
I actually decided to become a professional musician when I was at Kopan doing a meditation retreat, and I was not meditating very well. I was not.
Okay.
I was not having empty mind. Instead, I would sometimes giggle, and I was thinking about what I really wanted in my life, and I decided I wanted to be a musician. And I was studying tabla at the time, and the more I got good at tabla, the more I wanted to play melody and rhythm again from strings, because I was a guitar player growing up. And then I decided I love to travel, and I love to be able to walk up the mountains and fly different places. So I realized a mandolin could do everything a guitar can do, but it's more travel size. And so I was sitting there pretending to be meditating on emptiness at Kopan, and I was actually thinking, yep, I'm gonna buy a mandolin as soon as I get home. That's what I'm gonna do. So my experience with a silent meditation retreat at Kopan for 2 weeks was I became a professional mandolin player.
Wow.
I don't think that's what they hope for everyone in meditation, but that was my result.
So moving to Prince, so you come from a very musical family, a family with a rich musical legacy. So how do you experiment and relate between something like this instrument right here, mandolin, and with someone lively as Tara? Like, how do you connect and balance between tradition and experimenting?
A very good question, actually. So for an artist like coming from a very folk traditional playing background, you know, so actually my family has been very very inspiring in that part, where you basically kind of like experiment with so many things. And yeah, as I told, like my grandfather, he kind of like started with some back then, like sarangi strings, you know, used to be a gut string, like made from intestine, like sheep intestine strings, you know. And slowly, like we nowadays, I think we like really use those strings. And then in few places we do, but and then it turned into a nylon string. People do play nylon string as well at the moment. And so we moved to a metal string, which is very easier to travel with and very reliable on terms of like doing big concerts, you know. So as we have to like mostly travel, play with a different kind of music, you know, I kind of like crafted my own style, where I kind of like want to jam with some other musicians. And I probably like got very inspired from my father, because he used to travel around and play with so many other musicians, you know. So
all over the world, yeah.
All over the world. I mean, he was like, I got so inspired from him.
Yeah.
So, and he used to sometimes jam with the mandolin, sometimes with the violin, and sometimes with some percussion. I mean, I saw so many musicians in my life where he kind of like connected to me, and then like.
And I think his family, all the members of his family have pioneered some of the new technology, and now it's taking off about, you know, putting a pickup on an instrument, playing it with a standing up stand, playing with a strap, playing, and the same thing with our traditional music in Appalachian, bluegrass and old time music. There will be the purists who will say, if you tune your sarangi different ways, or use, how far can you take it with pedals where it's no longer a traditional instrument, there's no right or wrong answer.
We find so many common things, you know, when you're hearing the fiddle tune, I find it's like, oh, I think I could play that in sarangi, you know.
Right.
That could be so wonderful to play, and some melodies are very connecting, like that. So like few melodies that I was learning from it, like doesn't sound like Nepali song?
It sounds American folk music, right? Okay,
yeah, we can do like this is an American song, so you kind of feel like it's a Nepali song as well.
Right.
You know, you have like very common thing that you can like hear, you know, from the sounds of like. So I probably find it like you have like so many wonderful melodies that you can hear like and connect together, you know.
You both are musical educators as well.
Yes,
so how are you trying to preserve these traditional musical instruments and folk music all together?
Well, I just love to teach. I love to inspire. So often people will come to me and they may even say, I want to learn rock and roll, I want to learn, and I'll say, great, we'll get to that. But first, let's try some Irish tunes and some bluegrass tunes and maybe a Nepali tune. And so I introduce them to a buffet table is what I think of it as, of like, you know, when you go to a buffet and it has different kinds of foods. And I say, why don't we play some gypsy jazz and we'll play some bluegrass and some old time and some Irish and some Nepali. And then you can taste the flavors. And 90% of the time, they taste some of these traditional flavors and they love it.
Yes.
And they want to play more. And I don't know about you, how would you go approach?
So I think first of all by playing, mostly inspiring people. So that's how I go first. Like first of all, I think I have to be like inspired just to play this instrument first of all, and then I can inspire other people as well.
It's not always the easiest way to make a living, music, but it's very fun.
I feel like everyone should
try it.
Try it.
Yeah.
Like just one musical instrument or go for singing.
I think, of course, I mean, if you're in Nepal and then also like any part of the world actually, you have like, I'm talking about Nepal, but you have like so many different instruments in Nepal that you can learn, and you can just like sarangi is one of them, and you have tungna, you have arbajo, you have madal, you have basuri, so many different instruments. And I think one of them should just give it a try, or just, you know, just as a hobby. I mean, it is like fantastic when you're playing music and trying to like play with other people as well, you know.
What would you like to tell the world about folk instruments and folk music? Do you want to share something to the world, and do you have a message to them?
Yeah. Play music and follow us. Buy our CDs and listen to us on Spotify, of course, and you know, all of those things.
You have to say something?
iTunes, whatever.
Yeah, actually, same as Tara. You just listen, I mean, have fun, just pick up an instrument, play, you know. Just get one instrument, and then I think more of it is like we're trying to do some like part of having fun is one thing, but we also kind of like inspire people like just to pick up an instrument, you know, just to have fun with it actually. So yeah,
and even just follow your passions, even if it's not music. Perhaps your passion is drawing, painting, wood carving, any kind of pottery, but
those things that make.
Create something. Do something that brings you joy.
Joy, yeah, that's true.
Do something that brings you inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay, that is all for today, folks. Thank you for sharing your story and your sound with us, Prince and Tara. So it's amazing to see how music can connect worlds, from the Appalachian trails to the Himalayan hills. So thank you. See you next time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
During Lichavi period, Chango Narayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Chango inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Chango Narayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied temple is of basic Nepalese design with possible emphasis given to masterful ornamentation. The temple may have passed through series of restoration. The present structure was probably constructed in the 17th century. Chango Narayan is regarded as one of the masterpieces of Nepalese temple architecture. The older elements have been incorporated during the restorations.
Israeli strikes killed the intelligence chief of Iran's Revolutionary Guards as the Islamic Republic on Monday defied threats from U.S. President Donald Trump to devastate civilian infrastructure if it does not open the Strait of Hormuz. The warring sides kept up their barrage of strikes with Iranian missiles and drones targeting Israel, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates, and Israeli strikes hitting Iran and swaths of Lebanon where it is battling Tehran-backed Hezbollah. Iran said that much more devastating attacks would come if Trump followed through on his vow to hit civilian targets. The American leader had in social media post on Sunday threatened to destroy Iran's civilian infrastructure if Tehran does not follow his demand to reopen the Gulf to shipping by Tuesday 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Iran has all but blocked the Strait of Hormuz, a vital energy choke point, sending oil and gas prices soaring and pushing countries around the world to enact measures to contain the fallout. Iran's Revolutionary Guard said the strait will never return to its former status, especially for the U.S. and Israel. Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz said his country's military had been behind the strike, saying that it had been a response to Iran's attacks on civilian areas in Israel.
עודכנתי על ידי הרמטכ"ל שצה"ל סיכל הלילה בטהרן את מג'יד חדמי, ראש ארגון המודיעין של משמרות המהפכה, אחד האחראים הישירים לפשעי המלחמה האלה, ואחד משלושת הבכירים ביותר בארגון. משמרות המהפכה יורים על אזרחים, ואנחנו מחסלים את ראשי המחבלים. מנהיגי איראן חיים בתחושת נרדפות, נמשיך ונצוד אותם אחד-אחד.
Mazid Khademi, who became the latest figure killed in airstrikes, took over in 2025 after Israeli airstrikes killed his predecessor. He spent decades in intelligence and security roles while rising through Iran's security apparatus. Bangladesh has launched an emergency vaccination campaign after a fast-spreading measles outbreak is suspected of killing more than 100 people, mostly children, in what may be the country's most lethal wave of the disease in recent history. The campaign, which began on Sunday, comes amid more than 7,500 suspected measles cases since 15 March, according to Health Ministry's data. More than 900 of these cases have been confirmed, a sharp increase from 2025, when just 125 measles cases were recorded over the entire year. While Bangladesh has long vaccinated children against the highly contagious disease, the recent outbreak has exposed gaps in its program, raising the concerns. A health official said procurement issues had led to a shortage of vaccines, including for measles. Many in Bangladesh have blamed the vaccine shortages on the former interim government, which oversaw a new vaccine procurement system. Along with international partners like UNICEF and the World Health Organization (WHO), Bangladesh has launched an emergency vaccination campaign for measles and rubella, a milder disease with similar symptoms to measles. This campaign, which started on Sunday, will be rolled out across 30 sub-districts in Bangladesh and targets more than 1.2 million children between 6 months and 5 years old. Lawmakers in Vietnam re-elected Tran Tan Man as chairman of the National Assembly, giving him a second term as head of the country's top legislative body. The appointment came as deputies opened a new session in which they will confirm other top state leaders, including the president and prime minister, posts already selected by the ruling Communist Party but not yet announced. Top leader Tulam, who was reaffirmed as the party's general secretary in January, is also widely expected to become president. His presidency would unify leadership of the party and the state as President Xi Jinping did in neighboring China. Vietnam's 500-seat National Assembly serves mainly to ratify decisions made by the party, although it occasionally amends proposed legislation. Its members were elected last month in a vote that saw the Communist Party win nearly 97% of seats. The newly elected delegates are expected to confirm leaders tapped by senior cadres at the party's twice-a-decade Congress in January. Lam would be the first leader to have secured the top two jobs at a party Congress rather than stepping in following an office holder's death. The Prime Minister will also be confirmed by lawmakers' votes. NASA's Artemis astronauts have reached a critical stage in their journey to the moon as the Orion spacecraft enters the moon's sphere of influence. This milestone marks the point at which the moon's gravity exerts a stronger pull on the spacecraft than Earth's. Officials said the development signals that start off the final phase of the mission's lunar loop, bringing the crew closer to their planned operations around the moon.
Our mission continues to go incredibly well. Our crew is healthy as we prepare and gear up to fly by the moon tomorrow. We're all extremely excited for tomorrow.
Artemis mission commander Reed Wiseman described the energy and excitement of the astronauts as they get closer views of the moon.
I think one of the most interesting things right now is the four of us have looked at this moon our entire lives, and the way we are responding to what we are seeing out the window is, it's just like we're a bunch of little kids up here. We cannot get enough of this. It's amazing. Thank you for the privilege.
Mission controllers continue to monitor the spacecraft's trajectory and systems as it prepares for the next stage of the Artemis second mission. The astronauts are in the final phase of their run-up to a lunar loop, meaning the moon's gravity is now having a stronger pull on the spacecraft than Earth's. NASA highlighted that reaching this tipping point is a key milestone in crewed lunar exploration, demonstrating both precision navigation and the spacecraft's readiness for upcoming maneuvers.
Children affected by the ongoing conflict in Gaza are receiving medical and psychological treatment at the Samir Project Camp, a humanitarian initiative launched by local activists to address the needs of young victims of war. A camp coordinator said the facility provides a fully equipped medical point where children are examined, wounds are treated, and their overall health is closely monitored. He added the aim is to alleviate some of the pressure on the children's families while helping the children recover from both physical and psychological effects of the war. The program also covers hospitalization costs, medical tests, and follow-up treatments, aiming to relieve families from the financial and emotional pressures caused by the conflict. Volunteers explained that the camp also offers counseling services and group therapy sessions to help children cope with trauma, fear, and stress resulting from exposure to violence. Recreational activities, educational support, and structured play are integrated into the therapy.
China has ranked first worldwide in installed offshore wind power capacity for a fifth consecutive year. An official at the China Electricity Council said on Saturday. Wu Liqiang, Assistant Director of the Statistics and Digital Intelligence Department of the China Electricity Council, said the single unit capacity of offshore wind turbines in China remains at a world-leading level. Multiple 20-megawatt wind turbine units produced by domestic manufacturers have been put into operation, and the world's largest 26-megawatt wind turbine has been commissioned for grid-connected power generation in East China's Shandong province, with its technical performance significantly surpassing that of mainstream foreign models. Production of key components such as main shaft bearings, converters, and gearboxes have been fully localized, and the core capability for an independently controllable industrial chain has been strengthened. Meanwhile, China's offshore wind sector is accelerating its expansion into deep sea and far sea areas. A range of advanced technologies can effectively address the challenge of ultra-long distance power transmission in these regions, providing support for the large-scale, intensive development of offshore wind power. This will also enable China to continue supplying advanced technologies and solutions for the global offshore wind power industry. 1 month after South Korea allowed pets in restaurants and cafes, up to 1,400 establishments have begun welcoming animals, though regulatory and public awareness challenges remain. Under the new rules, pet-friendly venues must install barriers around kitchens and provide facilities such as leash hooks, pet chairs, and bowls, while ensuring animals are controlled and separated from dining areas. Early confusion over complex and unclear regulations led some businesses to restrict pets by creating designated no-pet zones. Business owners said concerns over potential penalties initially discouraged participation, but recent revisions to the rules have encouraged more establishments to adopt pet-friendly policies. Customers say the presence of pets has helped create a more relaxed and social atmosphere, particularly on weekends. However, some residents emphasize the need for responsible pet ownership to ensure comfort for all diners. Authorities say improving public awareness and compliance will be key to the long-term success of the policy, with a list of approved pet-friendly venues available through the government's Food Safety Courier platform. Lara Peters and Matthijs Dordrechter tied the knot in a sustainable wedding ceremony held at one of the busiest railway stations in the Netherlands, highlighting eco-conscious practices in fashion and event planning. The couple and their guests wore pre-owned outfits to promote environmentally friendly fashion and reduce textile waste. Groom Matthijs said the approach was important given the abundance of clothing that is often worn only a few times. The wedding is a way to show that celebrations can be meaningful without contributing to excess consumption. The groom added, reflecting a growing trend among couples seeking environmentally responsible alternatives. Organizers said the choice of a public venue combined with sustainable attire underscores the couple's commitment to minimizing the environmental footprint of their ceremony while raising awareness about fashion waste in the Netherlands and beyond. Located in northeastern Turkey, Bayburt Castle continues to captivate visitors with its enduring grandeur and deep historical roots. Regarded as one of the finest examples of Anatolia's cultural heritage, the castle has hosted numerous civilizations over thousands of years. A history spanning approximately 3,000 years, Bayburt Castle is the third largest castle in Turkey. Strategically positioned along the historic Silk Road route, the structure covers an area of 150,000 square meters and commands a dominant view of the surrounding city. Its walls stretch nearly 2 kilometers. One of the most striking features of the castle is the intricate tiles adorning its walls, which continue to dazzle visitors with their artistic detail. The project will be carried out under the supervision of the Ministry of Culture and Tourism of Turkey, aiming to uncover further historical insights and preserve the castle for future generations.
A long-standing English tradition drew fierce international competition this weekend as players battled for supremacy in the British and World Marvels Championship held on a sand-covered ring outside a village pub in West Sussex. The home team, Turner's Hill Tollymen, narrowly defeated their German rivals 26-23 in a closely contested team final, securing victory in a tournament that has been running since the 1930s. The championship, known for its mix of heritage and precision skill, continues to attract competitors from across Europe and beyond. Captained by Daniel Atkinson, the Tollymen held their nerve through a tense final, edging ahead in the closing stages. Speaking after the win, Atkinson highlighted the enduring appeal of the niche sport. The annual event stays in a purpose-built ring of sand, follows traditional rules and maintains a strong link to its historic roots, with matches played in front of spectators gathered around the pub grounds. Despite its modest setting, the championship has now grown into a recognized international competition, with teams representing multiple countries. Organizers say the team's longevity reflects both its cultural significance and the dedication of its players. This year's narrow final underscores the rising competitiveness of the tournament as international teams continue to challenge the dominance of local English sides in one of Britain's more unusual sporting contests. The Vietnam National Village for Ethnic Culture and Tourism has launched a month-long cultural program highlighting the country's ethnic diversity, running from April 1st to May 3rd on the outskirts of Hanoi. Organizers said the event brings together more than 100 participants representing 16 ethnic groups currently residing in the village. The program is timed to coincide with several major national observances, including Vietnamese Ethnic Groups Culture Day, Hung King's Commemoration Day, Reunification Day, and International Workers' Day. A central feature of this year's activities is Color of Lai Chau, a recreated highland market space designed to showcase traditions from northern mountainous communities. Visitors can sample regional food, take part in folk games, and watch live performances by the ethnic groups. The event is part of broader efforts by Vietnamese authorities to preserve and promote the cultural heritage of the country's 54 recognized ethnic groups while boosting tourism and public engagement.
Only after 6 decades of the institutional development of the now popular game of cricket did Nepal get the opportunity to play in the World Cup. Although cricket was introduced in Nepal during the Rana regime, the sport was confined to a limited number of people, namely the elite. It all started with equipment brought by students returning from their studies in Britain and India. Although Cricket Association of Nepal (CAN) was established in 1947, cricket remained centered among a few affluent individuals and in limited tournaments for a long time. Starting with the Bishnu Trophy in 1948, tournaments were limited to competitions like the Madan Memorial Sealed, Jugal Kishore Trophy, Rammani Trophy, and later the Jai Trophy. Even as the sport expanded outside Kathmandu Valley, it took decades for cricket to develop at the grassroots level. After the International Cricket Council (ICC) granted Nepal affiliate membership in 1988, Nepali cricket embarked on its international journey. The rule of mandatory participation in tournaments by the ICC and the Asian Cricket Council (ACC) opened doors to international competition for Nepal. After participating in the Under-19 Asian tournament in Hong Kong in 1996, Nepal has not looked back. Winning titles at the Asian and global levels, Nepali cricket team continues its journey towards the pinnacle of world cricket.
Goes down the ground because he was given that line outside off stump, so the first boundary of the contest, a handsome one.
Initially confined to Tulikhel in Kathmandu, many international tournaments were hosted in Nepal after an international standard ground was built in Kirtipur. Nepal has also shown its proactiveness in differently abled cricket tournaments like the T20 World Cup for the blind in 2012 and the Asian Cricket Tournament for the deaf. Nepali women's national cricket team has also achieved remarkable success in a short period of time. The latest addition in Nepali cricket is the floodlit Tribhuvan University Cricket Stadium and the Nepal Premier League that has provided opportunity for Nepali players to rub shoulders with world-class players.
चारैतिर हरियाली नै हरियालीको बीचमा चराचुरुङ्गीहरू बात मार्दै गरेका, हावाले संगीत भर्दै गरेको अनि माटोले आत्मीयता देखाएको यो पावन भूमि हो दक्षिणकाली। काठमाडौँ उपत्यकाबाट 18 किलोमिटरको दूरीमा रहेको दक्षिणकाली हिन्दू अनि बौद्ध धर्मावलम्बीका लागि विशेष ठाउँ हो। हिन्दू धर्मका प्रख्यात गुरु गोरखनाथ र बौद्ध धर्मका प्रख्यात गुरु रिम्पोछे अर्थात् पद्मसम्भवले ध्यान गरेको र सिद्धि प्राप्त गरेको यो विशेष भूमि हो। यो यही भूमि हो जहाँ माता दक्षिणकाली वास गर्नुहुन्छ। त्यसैले त यहाँको हावा र माटोले आकर्षित गर्छ, मधुरता दिन्छ। यो ठाउँमा पाइला टेक्नुले मात्र पनि ऊर्जा प्रदान गर्छ, जीवन सफल भएको आभास हुन्छ। कमलको फूलबाट अलौकिक रूपमा जन्म भएको मानिएका पद्मसम्भव, जसलाई तिब्बती भाषामा गुरु रिम्पोछे भनिन्छ, उनी गुरुले ध्यान गरेर सिद्धि प्राप्त गरेको ठाउँ फर्पिङ दक्षिणकालीमै छ। भनिन्छ बुद्ध धर्मका ज्ञाता पद्मसम्भव तिब्बतमा बुद्ध धर्मको जग बसाल्न जाँदै गर्दा धेरै वर्ष नेपालको फर्पिङमा बस्नुभयो। यो असुरा गुफा हो। गुरु पद्मसम्भवले ध्यान र साधना गरी सिद्धि प्राप्त गरेको ठाउँ। फर्पिङ बजारबाट दायाँ लागि केही उकालो हिँडेपछि गुफा पुग्ने भर्याङ देख्न सकिन्छ। अनगिन्ती सिँढीहरू चढेर गुफा पुगेपछि छुट्टै आनन्द आउँछ। विशाल चट्टानभित्र सानो कोठा छ जहाँ पद्मसम्भवको मूर्ति राखिएको छ र दीप प्रज्वलन गरिएको छ। अनि छेवैमा एक लामा मन्त्र उच्चारण गरी ध्यानमा लीन हुनुहुन्छ। आन्तरिक पर्यटकहरू नदेखिएको यो ठाउँमा विदेशी पर्यटकहरू पनि आउँदा रहेछन्। विशेष गरी चीन, ताइवान, मङ्गोलिया र भुटान लगायतका देशबाट यहाँ भ्रमणका लागि आउने गर्दछन्। यो बौद्ध मार्गीको एक पवित्र तीर्थस्थल हो जहाँको भ्रमण बिना तीर्थाटन अधुरो हुने गर्दछ। यही शिलामा हातका ठ्याक्कै 5 औँलाको डाम छ। स्थानीयका अनुसार यो हातको डाम गुरु पद्मसम्भवका शिष्यको हो। भूलवश हातको डाम रहन गएपछि ती शिष्य पश्चातापमा गएको भनाइ छ। यसै गरी अर्को एउटा भनाइ पनि प्रख्यात छ जसले यो हातको डाम गुरु पद्मसम्भवकै भएको बताउँछ। त्यसैले त यहाँ आउने पर्यटकहरू यहाँ आफ्नो हात राखेर पद्मसम्भवसँग ऊर्जा र आशीर्वाद माग्छन्। इतिहासमा पद्मसम्भवलाई अलौकिक शक्ति मानिन्छ जसले नकारात्मक ऊर्जा सजिलै परास्त गरी न्याय र शान्ति प्रदान गर्ने विश्वास गरिन्छ। यही गुफासँगै गुरु गोरखनाथको पाइला पनि रहेको छ। गुरु पद्मसम्भव ध्यान र साधनाका लागि यता आउनु भएको थाहा पाएर हिन्दू धर्मका प्रख्यात गुरु गोरखनाथ पनि यो ठाउँ केही वर्ष बसी ध्यान गरेर जानु भएको हो भन्ने भनाइ छ। गुफाका सिँढीहरू झर्दै गर्दा शिलामा स्वयं उत्पन्न भएको मानिएको गणेश र सरस्वतीको मूर्ति पनि छ। एउटा सानो कुण्ड अनि त्यसमाथि कमलको फूल, यस्तै स्वरूप बनाएर पद्मसम्भवको गजबको ठूलो मूर्ति राखिएको छ। विभिन्न भाव भङ्गिमामा रहेको पद्मसम्भवको प्रतिमा निकै नै सजीव देखिन्छ। यहाँ बसेर मजाले ध्यान गर्न सकिन्छ। यो ठाउँ अलौकिक शक्तिले भरिएको आभास हुन्छ। जो कोहीको अस्थिर मन पनि यहाँ शान्त बन्न सक्छ। यो असुरा गुफा र फर्पिङमै रहेको याङ्लेश्वर गुफा गुरु पद्म सम्भवले आवत जावतका लागि प्रयोग गर्न गरिएको पनि स्थानीय विश्वास छ। यहाँ पनि पद्म सम्भवको सानो मूर्ति राखिएको छ र दीप प्रज्वलित गरिएको छ। यहाँ रहेको चट्टानको बीचमा टाउको अड्याउन मिल्ने ठाउँ छ, जहाँ टाउको राखेमा आनन्द प्राप्ति हुने स्थानीयको विश्वास छ। यो यही परिसर हो जहाँ शेष नारायणको मन्दिर छ। यो उपत्यकाको 4 नारायण मध्ये एक हो। दिशंखु नारायण, इचंगु नारायण, चांगु नारायण र शेष नारायण काठमाडौँ उपत्यकाका 4 प्रमुख नारायण मन्दिरहरू हुन्। यही मन्दिरको ठिक माथि चट्टानमा विभिन्न आकृतिहरू देख्न पाइन्छ, जसलाई भक्तजनहरू विभिन्न रूप मानेर श्रद्धा गर्छन्। कामधेनु गाईको थुन, गणेश अनि शेषनागको आकृतिका रूपमा देखिने यी स्वरूपहरूमाथि भक्तजनहरूको गहिरो विश्वास छ। यसै मन्दिर प्रवेश स्थलमा एउटा सानो कुण्ड पनि छ, जहाँ ससानादेखि ठूलठूला असला र रङ्गी बिरङ्गी माछाहरू छन्। यहाँ केही जोडी कछुवा पनि छन्। यस कुण्डमा बौद्ध मार्गीहरूले आफ्ना मनोकांक्षा पूरा भएको खुसियालीमा रङ्गी बिरङ्गी माछाहरू छोड्ने गर्दछन्। अनि यिनै माछाहरू हेर्न यहाँ ससाना बालबालिकादेखि ठूलासम्म आउने गर्दछन्। यहाँ आनन्दको अनुभव गर्दै ध्यानमा लीन हुनेहरूको पनि कमी छैन। यहाँको अर्को विशेष भनेको वज्रयोगिनी मन्दिर हो। वज्रयोगिनी एक तान्त्रिक देवी हुनुहुन्छ। वज्रयाना र महायानामा वज्रयोगिनीको स्थान उच्च छ। समृद्ध र सुखी जीवनयापनको मनोकामना राख्दै भक्तजनहरू यहाँ आउने गर्दछन्। साथै ज्ञान प्राप्तिका लागि यस ठाउँको भ्रमण गर्नेहरू पनि धेरै छन्। आशाका दीपहरू बलिरहेका, खुशीका स्वरहरू गुन्जिरहेका यी ठाउँहरू साँच्चै विशिष्ट छन्। यसै विशिष्टताको अर्को नाम हो दक्षिणकाली मन्दिर। यो मन्दिरमा विभिन्न मनोकामना राखेर दर्शन गर्न आउनेहरूको भिड नै लाग्ने गर्दछ। यहाँ विशेष गरी शनिबार, मंगलबार र बिहीबार भिड लाग्ने गर्दछ। दशैंमा यहाँ विशेष पूजा हुने गर्दछ। यहाँ छिमेकी मुलुक भारतबाट पनि दर्शनार्थीहरू आउने गर्छन्। यहाँ आउने भक्तजनका लागि पनि खाजा, नास्ता अनि पूजा सामग्रीका पसलहरू राखिएका छन्। यही मन्दिरको ठिक माथि माताको मन्दिर छ, जुन दक्षिणकालीको माताको हो भनिन्छ।
दक्षिणकाली नगरपालिका आर्थिक रूपमा अलि विपन्न हो, तर सांस्कृतिक ऐतिहासिक थलोको रूपमा चाहिँ दक्षिणकाली नगरपालिका धनी नगरपालिकाको रूपमा पर्छ। उदाहरणको लागि माता दक्षिणकालीको मन्दिर पुर्खौँदेखि चाहिँ दक्षिणकाली माताको यस्तो मात्रामा चाहिँ आगमन पाइन्छ। प्राचीन दक्षिणकाली जहाँ माता दक्षिणकाली पहिला त्यहाँ उहाँको वासस्थान, पछि चाहिँ किम्वदन्ती अनुसार पछि तल सरेको भन्ने खालको जुन छ त्यो मन्दिर पनि एकदम अत्यन्त सुन्दर बनिसकेको छ र असुरा गुफाबाट मास्तिर जाँदाखेरि सिँढी माथिसम्मै जोडिएको छ र त्यहाँ पानीको केही व्यवस्था पनि छ, सबै कुरा व्यवस्था छ र त्यहाँ पनि नहेरी नहुने ठाउँको रूपमा छ। विदेशी पर्यटकहरू अहिले पनि हालसाल पनि आइराख्नु भएको, सधैँभरि आउने बुद्ध मार्गीहरूको पवित्र भूमि, गुरु रुम्बुचेले तपस्या सिद्धि गरेको थलो असुरा गुफादेखि लिएर चाहिँ पवित्र यहाँ चाहिँ बुद्ध मार्गीहरूको मठ मन्दिर भएको कारणले यहाँ हिन्दू मात्र नभइकन बुद्ध मार्गीहरूको पनि प्रशस्त यहाँ सम्भावना छ, आइराख्नु भएको छ। अझ थपेर आउनको लागि पनि यहाँ चाहिँ उहाँहरूलाई बसोबासको लागि बुद्ध मार्गीहरूले वासस्थानको पनि राम्रो व्यवस्था मिलाइराखेको छ र यहाँ आइसकेपछि असुरा गुफा र धेरै यस्ता चाहिँ मठ मन्दिरहरू, बुद्ध मार्गीहरूको मठ मन्दिरहरू भएको ठाउँ भएको कारणले यहाँहरूको टेलिभिजन मार्फत पनि यो कुरालाई उजागर गरिदिन सक्यो भने पर्यटकहरू अवश्य पनि कहाँ घुमौँ, कहाँ जाँदा राम्रो हुन्छ भन्ने अन्यल भइराखेको बेलामा दक्षिणकाली एउटा चाहिँ पर्यटकको लागि गन्तव्य स्थल हो भन्ने कुरा अलिकति हामी कार्यक्रम मार्फत पनि दिन सक्यौँ भने त्यो बढ्छ।
खासमा दक्षिणकाली मन्दिर यहाँ भन्दा फरक ठाउँमा थियो। पर्पिङको माथि जंगलमा रहेको दक्षिणकाली मन्दिर जानेहरू हराउन थालेपछि त्यसबेलाका राजा प्रताप मल्ललाई दक्षिणकाली माताले आफूलाई हाल रहेको ठाउँमा सारिदिनु भन्ने सपनामा देखाएपछि हालको ठाउँमा मन्दिर बनाइ सारिएको भन्ने कथन छ।
राजा प्रताप मल्लको राज्यकाल भन्दा पनि धेरै पहिला त्यस अवस्थाको मूर्ति फर्पिङ सहर शिखरको घना जङ्गलमा थियो। त्यहाँ मान्छेहरू जान डराउने र हराउने के, मान्छे जस्तै 100 जना गयो कि 1 जना हराउने के। त्यो भएपछि राजा प्रताप मल्ललाई साक्षात् कि दक्षिणकाली देवी सपनामा प्रकट भएर मलाई यो अप्रकाशित मूर्ति थियो त्यतिखेर, मलाई प्रकाशित मूर्तिमा प्राण प्रतिष्ठा गरेर दुई नदीको सङ्गम चौक जस्तै पूर्णावती गङ्गा र ओडारवती गङ्गाको बिचमा मलाई विराजमान गर र त्यस अवस्थामा प्रताप मल्लको पालोमा महामारीको भय थियो क्या। त्यो भय पनि निवारण हुन्छ भनेर अनि प्रताप मल्लले दक्षिणकालीको मूर्ति स्थापना गराएको थियो। अब मूर्ति स्थापना गराउँदा पहिला मूर्ति बनाउँदाखेरि त्यो प्राण प्रतिष्ठा गर्दाखेरि त्यस मूर्तिमा प्राण प्रतिष्ठा भएन। त्यो मूर्ति अहिले हनुमान ढोकामा छ। अनि त्यसपछि दोस्रो फेरि प्राण प्रतिष्ठा गरेर गुरु लमकर्ण भट्टले विधिका सारेन, अब जस्तै नरबली सर्प सब बलि सहित प्राण प्रतिष्ठा गरेर यहाँ विराजमान गराएको हो। जस्तै यहाँ नजिकै मुसान पनि छ। अनि देवीको दायाँबाट क्रमशः गणेश, भैरव, ब्रह्मायनी, महेश्वरी, कुमारी, वैष्णवी, बाराई, इन्द्रायणी, चामुण्डा बीचमा दक्षिणकालीमा विराजमान हुनुहुन्छ। यहाँ प्रत्येक चाहिँ अब भिड हुने चाहिँ शनिबार, मङ्गलबार, बिहिबार हो। अब दसैँमा त भन्नै परेन। अनि यहाँ विशेष पूजा चाहिँ वर्षको 2 चोटि हुन्छ। महापूजा वैशाख बढी 13 रोज र अनि भाद्र कृष्ण अष्टमीमा हुने गर्दछ। अब कोही मान्छेको भागल पुरा भएर आउँछन्, कोही मेरो भागल पुरा होस् भनेर आउँछन् होइन। यहाँ अब देश विदेश अर्थात् पूर्व मेचीदेखि पश्चिम महाकालीसम्मको मान्छेहरू आउँछन्। अहिले त यातायातको सुविधा झन् बढी भएको कारण पहिलाभन्दा यहाँ धेरै अब यात्रुहरूको चाप पनि बढी छ। अब दक्षिणकाली आमाले सबैको इच्छा, मनको इच्छा पुरा गरेकोले नै यहाँ मान्छेहरू आउने गर्दछ। एउटा आस्था त हो हाम्रो होइन।
यहाँको अर्को धार्मिक तथा ऐतिहासिक रूपमा प्रख्यात ठाउँ हो कटुवाल दह। झोलुङ्गे पुलबाट यो दह पुग्न सकिन्छ। दह भनिए पनि यो ठाउँ खोला बनेको छ। सम्भवतः यो ठाउँ कुनै समयमा दह भएको र कालान्तरमा खोलामा परिणत भएको हुन सक्छ। यहाँ सङ्कटाको सानो मन्दिर पनि छ। यो दहको जल रातो मच्छिन्द्रनाथको जात्रा सुरुवात गर्न अनिवार्य छ। किंवदन्ती अनुसार भारतको आसामबाट रातो मच्छिन्द्रनाथलाई नेपाल ल्याएपछि सुरुमा यही बिसाएर जल चढाइएको थियो। गर्मीमा शीतलता दिने यो ठाउँ आनन्ददायी छ। यहाँको चिसो हावाले मन शान्त पार्नुका साथै ऊर्जा पनि प्रदान गर्छ। यो गोपालेश्वर मन्दिर हो। यहाँ महादेवको ठूलो शिला रहेको छ। तीनतले प्यागोडा शैलीमा निर्माण भएको यो मन्दिर गोपाल वंशमा निर्माण भएको इतिहासमा उल्लेख छ। यसै मन्दिरमा कृष्णले आफ्नो भान्जाको व्रतबन्ध गरेको पनि विश्वास गरिन्छ। यहाँ रहेको चम्पादेवी डाँडा र भस्मासुर डाँडा पदयात्राका लागि एक आकर्षक गन्तव्य हो। चम्पादेवी काठमाडौँ उपत्यका वरिपरि रहेका अग्ला डाँडाहरूमध्ये तेस्रो अग्लो डाँडा हो। यो घना जंगलले घेरिएको छ र यहाँबाट सुन्दर हिम श्रृङ्खलाहरू देख्न सकिन्छ। प्रकृतिको नजिकमा रहे आनन्द लिनका लागि दक्षिणकाली एक उत्कृष्ट गन्तव्य हो। त्यसैले त यहाँ रहेका करिब 200 वटा गुम्बा लगायतमा अध्यात्म तथा ध्यान केन्द्रहरू खोलिएका छन्, जहाँ राष्ट्रिय तथा अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय व्यक्तित्वहरू ध्यानका लागि आउने गर्छन्।
हाम्रो यहाँ लोकल ग्राहकदेखि बाहिरी टुरिस्टहरू, इन्टरनेसनल ग्राहकदेखि सबैजना आउनुहुन्छ। यहाँ चाहिँ नजिक चाहिँ दक्षिणकाली परेको हुनाले र अर्को हाम्रो चाहिँ बुद्धिस्टको चाहिँ पनि ठुलो तीर्थस्थल भएको भएर दुवै सबैजना आउनुहुन्छ। कोही चाहिँ 1-2 दिन पनि बस्छन्, कोही 1 दिन मात्र शुक्रबार प्राय बस्नु भएर शनिबार दर्शन गरेर जानेहरू पनि हुन्छन् भनेदेखि कोही चाहिँ 6-7 दिन बस्ने, कोही 10-15 दिन बस्नेहरू पनि हुन्छन्।
यहाँ घुम्न आउने पर्यटकका लागि खाजा, खाना तथा बास बस्न होमस्टे तथा होटलहरू पनि रहेका छन्। ठुलठुला रिजोर्टदेखि ससाना खाजा पसलहरू रहेकाले यो ठाउँ पर्यटकका लागि सहज छ।
मेरो लगभग 1 वर्ष जति भयो। सधैँ आइन्छ। अब यसो कहिलेकाहीँ यताउता काम पर्यो भने बाहिर हिँडिन्छ, नत्र त प्राय यहीँ हो सधैँ। यहाँ अब शनिबार र पब्लिक होलिडेमा अलिअलि हो, नत्र अरू बार यस्तै नर्मल 500-700 200-400 जे होस् सर्भाइभ हुनलाई भइरहेछ, टाइम पास भइरहेछ। आफ्नै घर नजिक पनि भयो, आफ्नै ठाउँमा केही गरेर खान पनि पाइयो नि त।
दक्षिणकाली नास्पाती र लप्सीका लागि विशेष प्रख्यात छ। दक्षिणकालीको नास्पाती र लप्सी भन्ने बित्तिकै जो कोहीको पनि मुख रसाउँछ। यहाँका खेत बारीहरूमा नास्पाती र लप्सीका रुखहरूले घर बनाएका छन्। एक समान ठडिएका यी रुखहरूमा रहरलाग्दो पाराले नास्पाती फलिरहेका छन् अनि लप्सी पनि। यी लप्सीको यहाँ मिठो क्यान्डी बन्ने गर्छ। केही अमिलो अनि केही गुलियो हुने यी क्यान्डीले धेरैको मुख मिठो बनाएको छ।
लौसी हामीले बोटमै किन्छौँ, बोटै लिएर खेताल लाएर उ गर्छौँ होइन। अरू यही सामान बनाउने हो। पहिला लौसी झार्ने सिजन यस्तो हुन्छ, हामीले कात्तिकको लास्टदेखि सुरु गर्छौँ, कात्तिकको लास्टदेखि पुससम्म। त्योभन्दा अगाडि अलिकति गुदीभरि आउँदैन होइन। त्यो बेला सुरु गरेपछि तल उसिनी ताख्ने काम नै भइरहेको हुन्छ, यहाँ काम नै भइरहेको हुन्छ। दार्जिलिङ पनि जान्छ अहिले चाहिँ प्राय सर्लाहीतिर, अनि पोखरा बढी, अनि काठमाडौँ बढी। काठमाडौँ अनि मेरो यही लोकल बजारमा नै रहेछ। म आफै किन्छु नास्पातीहरू नि, अनि प्राय अलिक ठुला छानेर काठमाडौँ नै बेच्छौँ हामी। काठमाडौँमा अलिक ठुला बिच, अनि तराईतिर इन्डियातिर चाहिँ अलिक ठिक यता साइडको पठाउँछौँ। हामी 6 जना छौँ। पहिला त 8-9 जनै छौँ, बच्चाहरू छोरीहरू व्यवहार गयो, अहिले राम्रै छ।
यहाँ धान रोप्दै गरेका किसानहरू भेटिन्छन्, जिम्बु लाउँदै गरेका किसानहरू पनि भेटिन्छन्। जहाँ हेरे पनि हरियाली देखिने यो ठाउँ धार्मिक, ऐतिहासिक र प्राकृतिक सम्पदाले भरिपूर्ण छ। दक्षिणकाली काठमाडौँको नजिकमा रहेको एक आकर्षक पर्यटकीय गन्तव्य हो। प्रकृतिसँग आलिङ्गनका लागि र आध्यात्मिक शान्तिको खोजीका लागि यो ठाउँ एक उपयुक्त गन्तव्य हो। व्यस्त जीवनशैली र कोलाहलबाट मनको शान्ति प्राप्तिका लागि ध्यान तथा साधनामा लीन हुन यो ठाउँ उत्कृष्ट छ।
म बालेन्द्र शाह नेपालको सार्वभौम सत्ता र राजकीय सत्ता
March 2026 will be recalled in Nepal's political history forever. For decades, the halls of Singhadarbar were a revolving door for the same new faces. But today, the old guard has been dismantled. With a near two-thirds majority, Rashtriya Swatantra Party (RSP) has swept the nation. At the center of this political tsunami is a 35-year-old structural engineer and rapper. A man who did not just win an election, but led a revolution of the youth. Born in 1990 to a Maithili-speaking family, Balendra Shah's roots trace back to Mahattari, but his life was forged on the streets of Kathmandu. To the older generation, Balen was just an engineer with a master's in structural engineering. But to the youth, he was Balen, a king of the Nepal scene. Unlike traditional politicians who spent years in underground party cadres, Balen built his followers through social media and music. His lyrics were not just about rhythm. They were rebellion against the decay of the system. Balen's engineering background gave him the aura of a problem solver, while his rap persona gave him the cool factor. It was the perfect hybrid for a frustrated electorate. In 2022, Balen shocked the world by winning federal capital Kathmandu's mayorship as an independent candidate. This was his laboratory. He did not just talk about change, he brought out the bulldozers literally. Restoration of heritage sites, digitizing municipal services, and clearing the city's footpaths were some of the visible changes that Balen the mayor brought. Critics called him populist and authoritarian for his aggressive demolition drives and his defiant stance against the central government. By 2025, it was clear that the mayor's chair was too small for Balen's ambitions. The Balen effect had outgrown the valley. Late 2025 saw Nepal's Gen Z revolution. Fueled by economic stagnation and corruption scandals, the youth took to the streets.
We are here to question where our tax money went. As simple as that.
When the dust settled, an interim government under former Chief Justice Susila Karki was formed, and early elections were called for March 2026.
कसैको प्रति म आक्षेप पनि लाउँदिन। मेरो कृपया यति अनुरोध छ, सबै निर्वाचनमा आइदिनुस्। सबै कुरोको रिस पोख्दा पोख्दै मुलुकै गुमाउने काम चाहिँ हामी नगरौँ। हामी छलफलमा छौँ, अझै पनि हामीसँग समय छ। अहिले जो 2-2.5 महिना बाँकी छ भने त्यो त लाख टाइम हो हामीसँग। त्यसलाई घण्टामा गर्नुस्। हामी घण्टामा काम गरिरहेछौँ भने।
Balin took the ultimate gamble. He joined the Rashtriya Swatantra Party, took the leadership mantle and headed to Jhapa 5, the home ground of former Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli. The results were a bloodbath to the established parties. Balin did not just win, he decimated the competition, securing a mandate for change that Nepal hasn't seen in decades.
बालेन्द्र शाह नेपालको सार्वभौम सत्ता र राजकीय सत्ता नेपालको सार्वभौम सत्ता र राजकीय सत्ता नेपाली जनतामा निहित रहेको नेपालको संविधान प्रति पूर्ण वफादार रही सत्यनिष्ठापूर्वक प्रतिज्ञा गर्दै ईश्वर देश र जनताको नाममा शपथ लिन्छु कि प्रधानमन्त्री पदको जिम्मेवारी ईमानदारीका साथ गर्नेछु।
What does a Balin Shah premiership look like? His platform is likely to be built on 3 pillars: replacing political appointees with subject matter experts, reducing the brain drain by creating tech hubs and revitalizing local agriculture, and moving away from being a buffer state to becoming a bridge between India and China. Balin, the Prime Minister, will have no luxury over prolonged honeymoon period. The rapper turned politician inherits an economy in flux and a bureaucracy that is resistant to change. Balin's biggest challenge isn't going to be the opposition. It's the massive wave of expectation of over 30 million people and the overwhelming majority that his party has received. As the rapper who once rhymed about the struggles of the street takes the oath to lead the nation, the signature sunglasses may stay on, but the entire world is watching with clear eyes. Balin Shah is no longer just a mayor or a musician. He is the Prime Minister, and for Nepal, the music has just started.
म बालेन्द्र शाह नेपालको सार्वभौम सत्ता र राजकीय सत्ता
House of Representatives unanimously approves key ordinances, voter list and parliamentary member election amendments among the three. Government takes steps to remove middlemen from public offices, move aims to streamline services and reduce corruption. Nepal government steps in to enforce admission rules as private schools continue early enrollments. Annual fees burden parents nationwide. Iran confirms death of its intelligence chief in US-Israeli strike. Strike raises fears of wider escalation in the region. Measles surge in Bangladesh sparks emergency drive. Nationwide immunization launched amid rising child deaths. And Army club clinches convincing 138-run victory over Kathmandu province to top Prime Minister one-day cricket tournament table. Good evening, I am Sarah Sapsanamarai and this is NTV World News Hour. We're coming to you live from Kathmandu at 2200 hours Nepal time. Now the news in detail. Nepal's House of Representatives has unanimously approved 3 significant ordinances today. These include amendments to the voter registry, revisions to parliamentary member elections, and a second amendment to the Nepal Special Service Act. Home Minister Sudhar Gurung proposed the approval, emphasizing the need for smooth implementation. Earlier, Speaker Dol Prasad Aryal confirmed that no objection notices had been received regarding the bills. The measures aim to streamline electoral processes and update legal frameworks, marking a key development in Nepal's ongoing parliamentary reforms. The House of Representatives has formed a 15-member committee to draft new parliamentary rules. The proposal was submitted by Rashtriya Swatantra Party lawmaker Garvinda Burlakoti and approved unanimously. Ganesh Parajuli will serve as committee chair with members representing all parties in the House. Under the Speaker's general guidance, the committee will set its own procedures and has a 14-day time frame to complete its work. Until the new rules are finalized, the House will continue to operate under the 2079 parliamentary regulations, ensuring legislative continuity. The government has begun efforts to make all public offices free of middlemen, aiming to reduce delays and corruption. Previously, intermediaries often demanded illegal payments, even for small tasks, forcing citizens to repeatedly chase services. With increased monitoring, officers such as Transport and Land Revenue have reported smoother, faster service, allowing citizens to handle work directly. Officials say while technology adoption is still limited, early results indicate improved efficiency, although some users have requested help desks to guide them. More on this in our cover story later. Now, as Nepal begins the 2083 academic session, parents face mounting financial pressures from private schools, demanding excessive annual fees. The Ministry of Education has issued a strict directive ordering schools to stop pre-session enrollments, cease illegal fee collection and refund authorized payments. Officials estimate private schools nationwide collected around 15 billion rupees in fees this session, with nearly a third in Kathmandu Valley. Concerns remain over additional charges, including student development funds, repeated admission fees, and mandatory uniform purchases. Government and court warnings aim to curb these practices, but parents await enforcement at the local level to ensure meaningful relief. More on this in our Issue of the Day segment. Now, Iran says the intelligence chief of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Majid Khademi, was killed in a US-Israeli strike on Monday morning. Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz, announcing the killing, said Iranian leaders live with a sense of persecution and vowed that Israel would continue to pursue them, quote, one by one, unquote, framing the operation as part of ongoing military efforts amid the wider conflict.
עודכנתי על ידי הרמטכ"ל שצה"ל סיכל הלילה בטהרן את מג'יד חדמי, ראש ארגון המודיעין של משמרות המהפכה, אחד האחראים הישירים לפשעי המלחמה האלה, ואחד משלושת הבכירים ביותר בארגון. משמרות המהפכה יורים על אזרחים, ואנחנו מחסלים את ראשי המחבלים. מנהיגי איראן חיים בתחושת נרדפות, נמשיך ונצוד אותם אחד אחד.
Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump reportedly set a deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by 2000 Eastern Time on Tuesday. In a statement directed at Iranian infrastructure, he warned that Tuesday would be Power Plant Day and Bridge Day, all wrapped up in one, and added that there will be nothing like it. Iranian officials on the other side responded by warning that any U.S. action could prompt much more devastating retaliation, underscoring rising tensions over the strategic waterway and ongoing Middle East conflict. Bangladesh has launched an emergency vaccination campaign after a fast-spreading measles outbreak is suspected of killing more than 100 people, mostly children, in what may be the country's most lethal wave of the disease in recent history. The campaign, which began on Sunday, comes amid more than 7,500 suspected measles cases since 15th of March, according to Health Ministry. More than 900 of these cases have been confirmed, a sharp increase from 2025 when just 125 measles cases were recorded over the entire year. While Bangladesh has long vaccinated children against the highly contagious disease, the recent outbreak has exposed gaps in its program, raising concerns. In Nepal's Prime Minister Cup one-day cricket tournament, Tribhuvan Army Club defeated Karnali province by 138 runs. Batting first at Naraini Cricket Ground in Birganj, Army posted 268 runs in 48 overs, led by Arjun Saud's century of 121. Karnali, chasing 269, were bowled out for 130 in 42 overs, with Shahab Alam and Bashir Ahmed taking 3 wickets each. With 6 matches played, Army now tops the points table with 11 points, followed by Sudur Pashchim Province with 10 points from 6 matches. Now, as Nepal's new academic session approaches, early enrollments and skyrocketing school fees are causing confusion and concern. We bring you more in our Issue of the Day segment after this break. We bring you more in our Issue of the Day segment after this break. Welcome back to News Hour here on NTV World. Time now for Issue of the Day. School enrollment ahead of new academic sessions has not been allowed in Nepal since ages. Yet across the country, many institutional schools continue to enroll students early. Amid this confusion among the stakeholders about the new academic calendar, the Education Ministry on April 5 issued a notice to stop admitting students before the commencement of the academic session. Diksha Awasthi brings more.
Despite clear legal provisions about student admissions and commencement of new academic sessions, Several private schools have reportedly been admitting students and charging fees in advance. The mass disobedience of the law that had been prevalent since long had been intervened through a Council of Ministers decision on April 5. The government also postponed the new academic session of schools corresponding to 2026-27 by 15 days to April 28. Following this, the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology has issued a public notice warning institutional schools against early admissions. The ministry has stated that legal action will be taken against those violating Rule 84.4 and Rule 78.3 of the Education Regulations 2059.
शैक्षिक सत्र सुरु हुनुभन्दा अगाडि भर्ना लिनु हुँदैन। भर्ना लिनु हुँदैन भनेको त्यो तपाईको दिनले टाइमले तलमाथि होला भन्ने अरु हिसाबले होइन। त्यहाँ सर्टेन कन्डिसन्सहरु त्यहाँ पनि सर्टेन त्यसको क्राइटेरियाहरु पूरा गर्नुपर्छ। लाइक स्टुडेन्टहरुको हातमा सर्टिफिकेट हुनुपर्छ। स्टुडेन्टको हातमा तपाईको चाहिँ मार्कसिट देखि लिएर उसको क्यारेक्टर सर्टिफिकेट देखि लिएर सबै हुनुपर्छ। अर्को स्कुलमा जाँदा उले भर्नाको लागि उसँग चाहिने जति पनि डकुमेन्टेसन त्यहाँ रहन पर्यो। त्यो हिसाबले गर्दाखेरि सबै काम सम्पन्न हुन्छ शैक्षिक सत्र पूरा भइसकेपछि अनि नयाँ शैक्षिक सत्रमा भर्ना लिने भन्ने हो।
The notice also cites a recent order from the Supreme Court issued by Justice Balkrishna Dhakal, which reinforces that admission notices must not be published before exam results are released and all required documents are submitted, further emphasizing the need for coordination between exam results, session commencement, and document submission. However, schools present a different perspective. They argue that most institutions publish final results by the end of March and traditionally begin their admission campaigns immediately after. This year, they say, the 15-day delay has created confusion and disrupted the usual timeline.
पुरानै नियम अनुसार अघिल्लै क्यालेन्डर अनुसारको कार्यक्रम भएको हुनाले धेरै स्कुलहरूले परीक्षा पनि दिइसक्नुभयो, रिजल्ट पनि गरिसक्नुभयो। अब रिजल्ट गरिसकेपछि गर्ने के त भन्दाखेरि नयाँ भर्ना प्रोसेस गर्ने हो, हैन? त्यो कार्यमा चाहिँ अगाडि बढिरहेको छ। नेपाल सरकारले कुन बेला नयाँ नियम ल्याउँछ हामीलाई नै थाहा हुन्न, किनभने तपाईले यो नयाँ सरकार गठन भएपछि हेर्नुभयो भने मलाई लाग्छ 3 वटा 4 भन्दा बढी चाहिँ शिक्षा क्षेत्रका नयाँ नियमहरू आइरहेका छन्, नयाँ निर्देशनहरू आइरहेका छन्। यसमा अभ्यस्त हुन र जानकारी पाउन पनि त समय लाग्छ नि त।
Amid the confusion, the government has also directed local authorities to initiate legal procedures to ensure refunds of any admission fees collected in violation of the rules and to keep such institutions under strict scrutiny. As legal provisions tighten and enforcement steps up, the issue now goes beyond compliance. In fact, the decision is nothing groundbreaking in itself, but just a question against lack of monitoring in implementing existing laws and regulations in Nepal's education system. Amid all this confusion, caught in between are the students and the guardians. Diksha Awasthi with camera person Rasila Shrestha reporting for NTV World.
Every year, the start of the academic session brings a familiar financial dread for parents across Nepal. Despite strict legal ceilings, many private schools continue to demand hefty annual fees that far exceed the law. This year, however, the newly formed government and the courts are signaling that the era of unchecked commercialization must end. Smithu Gising Tamang reports.
As Nepal enters the new academic session, the financial burden on parents has reached a breaking point. While the law is clear, the practice on the ground tells a different story. On Sunday, April 5, the Ministry of Education issued a stern directive. The notice warns of action to the schools that are flagrantly violating the provisions in the education regulation. The ministry has directed to stop collecting annual fees and other unauthorized fees.
एनुअल फी अथवा अरू प्रकारको फीहरू अथवा जति फीहरू लिन पर्ने हो विद्यालयले शुल्क लिन पाउनेको लागि निश्चित शुल्कको प्रबन्ध गरेको छ। एउटा शुल्क मापदण्ड सम्बन्धी एउटा हामीसँग के भने कानुन छ या नियमावलीको व्यवस्था छ, नियमको व्यवस्था छ। त्यसले शुल्कका मापदण्डहरू, शुल्कका शीर्षकहरू, शुल्कको सीमाहरू सबै तोक्दिएको छ। त्यसभित्र बसेर शुल्क लिन पर्यो विद्यालयले। लिगल रिक्वायरमेन्ट, यो रिक्वायरमेन्ट जो विद्यालयहरूले पूरा गर्दैन त्यो विद्यालयहरूको काम गैरकानुनी भयो। गैरकानुनी काम को लागि तपाईको कसले रेगुलेट गर्छ? भन्दाखेरि स्थानीय सरकार विद्यालय सञ्चालनको लागि विद्यालयको रेगुलेसनको लागि फाइनल अथोरिटी हो नेपालमा।
The scale of this industry is massive. Estimates suggest private schools across Nepal collected roughly 15 billion rupees in annual fees this session alone, with 5 billion concentrated right here in the Kathmandu Valley. However, school representatives argue that the hefty fee label shouldn't apply to everyone. They point to a specific classification system that allows a small elite group to charge significantly more.
नेपाल सरकारले नै यो निजी स्कुलहरूले 1 महिना बराबरको एनुअल फी लिने भन्ने खालको जुन निर्देशन गरेको छ र त्यो बाहेक उले ब्रेकडाउन गरे यो शीर्षकमा जस्तो परीक्षामा लिन पाउने, त्यसै गरी अतिरिक्त क्रियाकलापमा लिन पाउने, लाइब्रेरीमा लिन पाउने, प्रयोगशालामा लिन पाउने यी विविध खालका शुल्कहरू नेपाल सरकारले तोकेको छ र त्यो तोकेको अनुसार नै स्कुलहरूले फी लिएको हो। तर केही स्कुलहरू एकदम नगण्य स्कुलहरूले चाहिँ अलि बढी फी लिएको भन्ने खालको बजारमा चाहिँ कुरा भएको हुँदाखेरि समग्र स्कुलहरूलाई त्यही एउटा बास्केटमा हालेर कुरा गरेको हुँदाखेरि समग्र निजी शैक्षिक संस्थाहरू बदनाम भएका हुन्।
Beyond the base fees, parents are still being squeezed for student development funds, repeated admission charges, and security deposits. There is also the growing trend of forced tie-ins, where parents are compelled to buy uniforms and books directly from schools at inflated prices. The government has acted. The courts have weighed in. But for the millions of parents waiting for relief, the question remains: will local governments finally enforce these directives with real consequences, or will these warnings remain just paper tigers as in the past? With camera person Rasila Shrestha, Smitu Gising Tamang reporting for NTV World.
And that wraps up our issue of the day. After the break, a nationwide crackdown on middlemen is shaking up government offices. From transport to land revenue, authorities say long-standing delays and corruption are finally being tackled. But is the system really changing for the public? We bring you ground reports on what this means for service delivery and a vox pop with citizens reacting to the crackdown. Stay with us. You're watching News Hour here on NTV World. I am Sarah Sapsanamarai. Welcome back. In a significant move to overhaul public service delivery, the government has launched a nationwide crackdown on middlemen in government offices, aimed at eliminating delays and deep-rooted corruption. The initiative is already showing signs of transformation in high-traffic sectors like transport and land revenue. April Gising Lama, along with Pramila Bhandari and Anup Ghimire, brings us this report.
Do you need your blue book renewed? Or perhaps help with your license? Until recently, these were the first words a service seeker would hear upon entering a government office in Nepal. Dressed almost like officials, these middlemen once dominated the hallways, charging exorbitant illegal fees to bypass queues and access restricted rooms. However, the landscape is changing. As part of a new government priority to ensure transparent and hassle-free service, authorities have heightened monitoring and surveillance. In offices that were once considered strongholds for middlemen, service seekers are now navigating the processes independently. When the NTV News team visited the Transport Management Office on Monday, the shift was palpable. Tasks that previously took hours of frustration are being completed in minutes. With office hours extended and staff now required to be at their desks by 9 a.m., the reliance on external fixers is rapidly declining.
कार्यालयकै तर्फबाट चाहिँ पहल गर्दा पनि कार्यालयभित्रको परिसरमा हामीले कन्ट्रोल धेरै गरेका थियौं र सरकारले पनि बाहिरबाट अहिले चाहिँ सुरक्षाकर्मीहरू परिचालन गरेर पनि त्यसलाई चाहिँ बाहिर उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ त्यो कन्ट्रोल गरिदिसकेपछि अलिकति हामीलाई वातावरण चाहिँ अलिकति बाहिरबाट नै शान्तिपूर्ण वातावरण भइसकेपछि कार्यालयमा काम गर्ने वातावरण चाहिँ एकदम शान्तिपूर्ण छ।
While the crackdown is a welcome relief, it has highlighted a new challenge: digital literacy. Many citizens, long used to handing over their paperwork to middlemen, now find themselves confused by the procedures. There is a growing call for dedicated help desks and a more robust transition to fully online systems to ensure the system remains middleman-proof.
Our crew reached government officers to hear from the service seekers themselves. Here's what they had to say about their experience with public service delivery these days.
सबैले गरिदिइराख्छ फटाफट यहाँ जानुस् भन्ने सिकाइ पनि राख्नु भएको छ जे खुसी लागेको छ राम्रो छ अहिलेसम्मलाई
राम्रो कुरा चाहिँ 9:30 बजेदेखि नै हामी यहाँ आउँदाखेरि सबैजना आइसक्नु भएको थियो र आफ्नो कार्यस्थलमा हुनुहुन्थ्यो अनि हामीलाई काम गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ सजिलो भइरहेछ अहिले यसमा बिचौलियाहरू कोही देखेको जस्तो चाहिँ लागेन हैन त्यही भएर राम्रै छ जस्तो लाग्छ
पहिला भन्दा चाहिँ म सजिलो जस्तो लाग्यो किनभने पहिला चाहिँ मालपोतको काम भनेपछि एकदमै गाह्रो जस्तो फिल हुन्थ्यो अहिले चाहिँ अब अलिकति राम्रो भइराछ जस्तो चाहिँ फिल भइराछ मलाई
अहिले धेरै फरक एकदमै चेन्ज हैन पहिला हामी केही नगरे पनि उनीहरुले पैसा चाहिँ धेरै लिने हैन अनि तलेबल गर्ने गर्थे अहिले चाहिँ त्यस्तो केही गर्नु पर्दैन धेरै सहज भयो
पहिला भन्दा चाहिँ अलि गाह्रै छ तपाईको अब के थाहा छैन हामीलाई चिन्दैन हैन चिने छैन हामीले अब टेबलमा जानु पर्यो फाइल लिएर हैन अलिकति गाह्रो उहाँहरु हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ अलिकति हामीलाई जे सहज थियो हैन हामीले केही गर्न पर्दैन थियो उहाँले सबै गरिदिनु हुन्थ्यो
भन्नको लागि चाहिँ यहाँ केही नमुना टाँसेर राखिदिया भए अब नयाँ मान्छे आउँदाखेरि सजिलो हुन्थ्यो भन्ने
पहिला त यताउता भइरहन्थ्यो यहाँ बिचौलीले हैन यता तानी उता अहिले चाहिँ त्यस्तो छैन आज फर्स्ट आएको एकदम सहज भइरहेछ खुला पनि छ त्यस्तो सजिलो छ अहिले चाहिँ
यो सरकारी काम चाहिँ अलिकति ढिलै भयो के त्यो सब हामी जस्तो मान्छे त अफिस छोडेर स्कुल छोडेर आउनु पर्यो नि त अब अफिस छोडेर आउँदाखेरि पनि अब कतिले दिन्छ कतिले दिँदैन त्यो पनि समस्या छ मैले चाहिँ के भनेको भने हाम्रो काम चाहिँ हल्का सिस्टमाइज भयो भने चाहिँ अलिकति सजिलो हुन्थ्यो कि सहज हुन्थ्यो कि भन्ने मात्रै हो किनभने पेपर वाइज भन्दा सिस्टमाइज अलिकति छिटो पनि हुन्छ नि त सबै हेर्नलाई पनि छिटो हुन्छ
That was our cover story of the day. On to other news. The Supreme Court concluded the hearing on the writ seeking the custody of CPNUML chair KP Sharma Oli and Congress leader Ramesh Lekhak. The bench, headed by Justices Binod Sharma and Sunil Kumar Pokhrel, heard arguments from government lawyers, while the legal teams representing Oli and Lekhak had completed their arguments yesterday. Both leaders were arrested by police on 27th of March, following the government's decision to implement the recommendations of the Gauri Bahadur Karki Commission that investigated the crackdown during the September 89 movement. The commission had recommended filing cases against them, holding them responsible for the suppression of protesters. Now, lawmakers from both the ruling and opposition parties emphasize the need to set aside ideological differences and present a united voice in support of national interests. During the special session of the House of Representatives, Member of Parliament stressed that the Parliament should serve as a platform where the people's voice is heard and represented. They expressed confidence in the Speaker's role in strengthening the coordination between the House, the government and the overall system. Lawmakers highlighted that the more effective the Parliament is, the stronger democracy becomes. Some MPs also urged the government to reconsider its decision to dissolve student organizations that advocate for students' rights. Attention was drawn to the need for government plans to reduce violence against women through digital platforms. Lawmakers also called on the government, led by a party with nearly 2/3 of the vote, to fulfill public aspirations for development and prosperity and to end unnecessary loss of life caused by ethnic discrimination. Dol Prasad Aryal, elected Speaker of Nepal's House of Representatives, has pledged to serve in a neutral and coordinating role. In his first presiding session, he urged lawmakers to ensure an active and effective parliament, emphasizing good governance and timely legislative work. Aryal called on all parties to put aside ideological differences and work together for national unity and development.
यहाँहरू जनताको प्रतिनिधित्व गरेर आउनु भएकोले कुनै पनि सदस्यलाई दलगत सहभागिताका आधारमा भेदभाव हुने छैन भन्ने स्पष्ट पार्दछु। संसदीय व्यवस्थामा सभामुख पदको गरिमालाई अझ उच्च बनाउने कार्यमा मेरो अहम भूमिका रहनेछ। संसदीय व्यवस्थाको सुन्दरता नै नीतिगत बहस, छलफल र निष्कर्ष रहने हुन्छ। यस कार्यको लागि संसद एक खुला विश्वविद्यालय सरह रहने कुरा व्यक्त गर्दछु।
The Speaker also thanked all parties for supporting his uncontested election and stressed that the House should amplify citizens' voices, strengthen democracy and address social issues. The next session of the House has been scheduled for tomorrow at 1 p.m. National Assembly has elected Leela Kumari Bhandari as its new Vice Chair. Bhandari, representing CPN-UML, was elected unopposed after registering her nomination yesterday. The Assembly was informed today that no other candidates had come forward, confirming her uncontested election. The proposal for her appointment was presented by lawmaker Prem Prasad Dangal and supported by members of Nepali Congress, Janata Samajwadi Party and NCP. Bhandari's election marks a notable step in leadership representation within the upper house of Nepal's federal parliament. Members of the upper house have raised concerns over rising fuel prices, increasing inflation and economic challenges. During zero-hour discussions, lawmakers highlighted falling capital markets, road accidents, the situation of Nepali workers in West Asia and growing cybercrime. They urged the government to take measures to stabilize prices and mitigate the impact of two-day office and school holidays. Likewise, the annual report of Indigenous Peoples Commission for fiscal year 2081-82 was presented to the Assembly by Minister Sobita Gautam on behalf of Prime Minister Balendra Shah. Nepal Oil Corporation has urged consumers to use fuel responsibly amid rising shortages across the country. The request follows a cabinet decision to close government offices and educational institutions Saturday and Sunday, which may increase travel demand. Spokesperson Manoj Thakur said the corporation is currently losing 120 Nepali rupees per litre, highlighting the strain on supply. Authorities have called for careful management to ensure smooth distribution of petroleum products and avoid disruption to public services. Officials emphasize that responsible fuel use is essential during the upcoming holiday period to prevent further shortages and maintain stability. A team of the Federation of Nepali Journalists held a meeting with Minister for Communications and Information Technology, Dr. Bikram Timalsina. The discussion featured a recent decision of the government on advertisement. The Federation delegation, led by its chairperson, Nirmala Sharma, drew the minister's attention towards the directive issued by the Office of the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers on 1st of April. The directive had mandated the publication and broadcasting of government notices and advertisements only in government media. On the occasion, the minister made it clear that the amount of government advertisement was grossly misused. Working journalists were not benefited, and brokers were taking advantage of the previous scheme that prompted the government to issue such directive. The minister, however, informed that he was always for working journalists and vowed meeting genuine demands. Textbook distribution is underway across Sudur Paschim province in far west Nepal with the aim of reaching schools before the new academic session begins. Janak Education Materials Centre's provincial office in Thangari has prioritized districts in remote areas. It has completed the book deliveries to Bajura and Darjula and is dispatching books to several others. Around 400,000 textbooks have already been distributed through local vendors. The centre plans to supply all 9 districts by mid-April with a total target of about 1.65 million books. Officials say there is no shortage so far and any gaps will be addressed through a second phase of distribution. Construction on the Dudhaura Bridge in Pithlaiya Dhalkebar section of the East-West Highway in Bara in central Nepal has been halted since 22nd of February, causing problems for passengers and locals. The Mahadev Khimti Hirachan JV company, contracted in 2018 to complete the bridge in 3 years, has shown no urgency even as 8 years near completion. Around 30 riverside families suffered from dust, smoke and health issues due to stalled work. Thousands of vehicles are forced to use a risky detour daily. Contractor Ravi Singh claims electricity poles and trees are blocking work, but locals say these do not hinder construction. The 4-lane, 90-meter bridge is 85% complete, with connecting roads on both sides still pending. Authorities in Thading have stepped up efforts to curb animal cruelty on highways, cracking down on trucks carrying overcrowded and mistreated livestock into Kathmandu. Despite legal safeguards, violations remain widespread, prompting a much-needed focus on the welfare of animals in transit. Vijeta Bhandari reports.
In an attempt to curb cruel treatment to livestock ferried across the country for meat and other meat products, government authorities have started crackdown along highways. District Administration Thading, the major entry point to capital Kathmandu, has announced tighter regulations in this regard.
यी कुराहरुको हकमा हामीले गत विगतदेखि नै काम गर्दै आएका छौं र केही प्रहरीहरु बाट के यस्ता केसहरु पनि छन् र जसलाई हामीले नियन्त्रणमा पनि लिएका छौं। यदाकदा नदेखिने हैनन्, देखेका कुरामा जिल्ला प्रशासन कार्यालय संवेदनशील छ र कानुन त पशुलाई हामीले व्यवस्थापन गर्दाखेरि अपनाउनु पर्ने प्रक्रियाहरुको बारेमा अपनाउनका लागि हामीले जिल्लाको रमा रहेको पशु सेवा कार्यालय राम्रो महादेव बेसीमा भएको पशुको क्वारेन्टाइन र नेपाल प्रहरी ट्राफिक प्रहरीहरुलाई उपयुक्त रूपमा हामीले उनीहरुको सहजीकरण र समन्वयमा हामीले यसलाई नियन्त्रण गर्छौं।
The failure to enforce existing laws has led to widespread irregularities in livestock transportation. Government provisions clearly state that animals must not be subjected to cruelty during transportation, and violators are subject to legal action. However, there has been little to no improvement, and those involved in improper practices rarely face consequences. Every day, dozens of trucks entering Kathmandu along Prithvi Highway can be seen transporting animals in such inhumane conditions, while highway police claims to be working to control the issue. Animals like buffaloes are often tied by their tails, overcrowded far beyond vehicle capacity, and tightly restrained with ropes around their noses and mouths, causing severe distress. Despite this, authorities concerned have remained largely silent, though the local administration now says it will not allow this to continue. Even when quarantine certification is present, unhealthy and sick animals are still being transported to the capital for meat. Nepal produces around 500,000 metric tons of meat from livestock annually, according to the Department of Livestock Services. This basically includes buffalo, goat, pig, and poultry. Despite such inhumane treatment, animal rights activists and stakeholders have yet to respond in a visible and coordinated manner, while animal welfare and cruelty prevention have also received limited attention in the government's recently unveiled 100-point action plan.
International news coming up next. For now, a quick recap of the headlines. House of Representatives unanimously approves key ordinances, voter lists and parliamentary member election amendments among the three. Government takes steps to remove middlemen from public offices. Move aims to streamline services and reduce corruption. Government steps in to enforce admission rules as private schools continue early enrollments. Annual fees burden parents nationwide. Iran confirms death of its intelligence chief in US-Israeli strike. Strike raises fears of wider escalation. Measles surge in Bangladesh sparks emergency drive. Nationwide immunization launched amid rising child deaths. And Army club clinches convincing 138-run victory over Karnali province to top Prime Minister Cup one-day cricket tournament table. Oil prices climbed today as well on continuing fears of supply losses because of shipping disruptions in the key Middle East producing region from the US-Israeli war with Iran. Brent crude futures rose $1.71 or 1.6% to $110.74 a barrel. US West Texas Intermediate crude futures gained $0.71, which is 0.6%, to trade at $112.25 per barrel. On Thursday, the last trading day before the Good Friday holiday break, WTI settled up more than 11%, and Brent soared nearly 8% in volatile trading, recording their biggest absolute price increase since 2020, as US President Donald Trump promised to continue attacks on Iran. The Strait of Hormuz, which carries oil and petroleum products from Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait and the UAE, remains largely closed by Iranian attacks on shipping after the war began on 28th of February. Oil tankers and container ships are positioned off the coast of India's financial capital of Mumbai after several Indian-flagged liquefied petroleum gas carriers passed through the Strait of Hormuz amid ongoing Middle East tensions. Iran effectively halted maritime traffic through the crucial waterway on 28th of February, following US-Israeli strikes, disrupting one of the world's busiest shipping lanes for crude oil and gas. Despite the blockade, India has secured passage for a number of its vessels, with at least 8 Indian-flagged LPG carriers transiting the strait since early March and making their way toward Indian ports, including Mumbai. Authorities say continued shipments are critical as India remains heavily dependent on Middle Eastern energy supplies, particularly for LPG, even as diplomatic engagements continue to secure safe passage through the region's volatile waters. Ukraine's emergency services have pulled survivors and recovered bodies after a Russian strike on the southern port city of Odessa, killing 3 people, including a child. Multiple strikes have triggered large-scale fires across several areas, causing extensive damage to buildings, vehicles and infrastructure. Authorities continue rescue operations while fire crews work to contain the blazes and prevent further casualties. Officials warned residents to remain vigilant as the city faces ongoing attacks, and local emergency services have urged people to follow safety protocols amid continued airstrike alerts. At least 121 people have died over the past 2 weeks in Afghanistan and Pakistan due to extreme weather, disaster officials in both the countries have said. Authorities are continuing rescue and relief operations amid ongoing rainfall, while dozens of trucks and other vehicles remain stranded on the flooded highway connecting Herat and Islam Kala in Zindazan. Local authorities have warned travelers to avoid flooded areas, and emergency shelters have been set up for stranded drivers. The region continues to face heavy rainfall, raising fears of further flooding and disruptions. Aid agencies, meanwhile, are appealing for urgent assistance to help those affected. The Artemis astronauts entered the final phase of their run-up to a lunar loop on Monday, a tipping point of sorts. That means the moon's gravity is now having a stronger pull on the spacecraft than Earth's. The Orion capsule will now whip around the moon, setting the crew up to travel farther from our home planet than any human before. Meanwhile, NASA said that astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft marked Easter with light-hearted activities during their journey toward the moon. The agency reported that the crew had hidden Easter eggs around the cabin and awarded Canadian astronaut Jeremy Hansen a gold pin. Astronaut Christina Cox said that they had hidden a few eggs in the cabin, adding that they were the dehydrated scrambled egg variety, but that the crew was happy with them. NASA noted that such activities helped maintain morale and camaraderie on long-duration missions. A short break here, business news coming up next.
The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and its allies known as OPEC Plus have decided to increase oil output by 206,000 barrels per day in May. The decision was announced following a virtual meeting attended by Saudi Arabia, Russia, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Kazakhstan, Algeria, and Oman, which reviewed global market conditions and outlook. Amid the ongoing military conflict in the Middle East, the 8 OPEC Plus countries underscored the critical importance of safeguarding international maritime routes to ensure the free flow of energy supplies. The 8 countries also expressed concern over attacks on energy infrastructure, which harmed the overall supply availability. They are scheduled to meet again on May 3rd to make further decisions. Since the US-Israeli strikes on Iran beginning February 28, the conflict in the Middle East has severely disrupted regional energy flows, with crude oil and refined product shipments declining significantly. Italy has imposed jet fuel restrictions at several airports amid limited supplies impacted by escalating tensions in the Middle East since the United States and Israel launched joint strikes on Iran starting February 28. Fuel restrictions for flights have been introduced at the airports of Milan Linate, Bologna, Venice, and Treviso. According to the Italian subsidiary of British Petroleum BP, which supplies fuel at airports, priority will be given to medical flights, government officials' flights, and flights lasting more than 3 hours. The restrictions are set to run from April 2nd to April 9th. The ASEAN Plus 3 region is expected to post economic growth of 4.0% in both 2026 and 2027, according to the annual Regional Economic Outlook report released Monday by the ASEAN Plus 3 Macroeconomic Research Office. The 2025 growth rate for ASEAN Plus 3, comprising the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN member states in China, Japan, and the Republic of Korea, came in at 4.3% higher than previously anticipated. The better-than-expected performance was driven largely by AI-driven semiconductor demand, which serves as a key engine of export growth, said the report titled ASEAN Plus 3 Regional Economic Outlook 2026. The region has now become one of the largest markets in the world, accounting for 28% of global final demand. The AMRO report also warned that escalating conflict in the Middle East and disruptions to global energy supplies significantly increase downside risks to the regional economic outlook. More than 1,000 coal mines in China have adopted intelligent systems as their application expands from pilot projects to large-scale deployment, the China National Coal Association said recently. Statistics show that by the end of 2025, a total of 1,066 coal mines nationwide have introduced smart systems, with such technologies now supporting more than 65% of the country's coal production capacity. The number of autonomous mining trucks in operation surpassed 4,000 units, roughly doubling on an annual basis. The rapid adoption of smart mining is driven by robust domestic capabilities in intelligent equipment and technology. Since the start of the 14th five-year plan period, 2021 to 2025, cumulative investment in smart mining has exceeded about $15.6 billion, with intelligent technologies now widely applied, accelerating the shift from traditional mining to modern technology-driven extraction.
And with that, we move on to sports update. Manchester City assistant manager Pep Lijnders has confirmed that captain Bernardo Silva will leave the club at the end of the season. The 31-year-old Portugal international, who joined from AS Monaco in 2017, has made 450 appearances and won 6 Premier League titles and the Champions League. Lijnders expressed hope Silva would receive a proper farewell, saying he deserved full recognition for his contributions. Renowned for his versatility, technique and work rate, Silva has been a key figure under Pep Guardiola. He will leave as a free agent, joining Liverpool's Mohamed Salah as one of major Premier League departures this season. Now the weather updates, first from across Nepal and then the world. Before wrapping up, here's a look into the top stories once again. House of Representatives unanimously approves key ordinances, voter list and parliamentary member election amendments among the three. Government takes steps to remove middlemen from public offices. Move aims to streamline services and reduce corruption. Nepal government steps in to enforce admission rules as private schools continue early enrollments. Annual fees burden parents nationwide. Iran confirms death of its intelligence chief in US-Israeli strike. Strike raises fears of wider escalation in the region. Measles surge in Bangladesh sparks emergency drive. Nationwide immunization launched amid rising child deaths. And Army club clinches convincing 138-run victory over Karnataka province to top Prime Minister Cup one-day cricket tournament. That brings us to the end of this edition of News Hour here on NTV World. Do join us through our social media pages. Also visit our official website, nepaltelevision.com. I am Sarah Sapsanamarai. Thanks for staying with us. Good night.
Actually, when I was 16, back in 2015, I was at a music festival. This music is called bluegrass that I play, and I was at this bluegrass festival, and this person named Tara Linhart. She is amazing. You can talk to her more, but she had a fantastic project called the Mountain Music Project. And I heard this project of Nepali musicians and bluegrass musicians coming together and fusing the music. And I thought it was really, really cool to see this cross-cultural collaboration. But I really just wanted to get back to music. And so I reached out to Tara. I had an opportunity to get some funding. And I emailed her randomly. She was in Bhutan at the time. And I said, hey, I want to set up a music project in Nepal. Can you connect me with some of your buddies? And she got on a WhatsApp call and started giving me the lowdown of how awesome it was. One of the people she introduced me to was actually Prince's father, Sham Nepali. And we met in New Hampshire. And we jammed together and had a great time. And he said, oh, when you get to Nepal, you have to meet my son. He's so great. He'll play music. You'll play music together. I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay. Like, every dad is going to say that about their son. Like, is it going to be great? Well, then 3 months later, I showed up in Nepal, and I had only brought a mandolin, and I wanted a guitar to write some songs on. So I called up Shamdai, and I said, hey, can I borrow a guitar? He said, yes, come meet my son. And so I met Prince in Kirtipur, and we started playing that day. And then we sat down and we started playing, and it was just like magic. It was just sort of this instant connection. That was pretty special and crazy to me that we grew up on opposite sides of the world, and there are American musicians who I don't vibe with. We don't have a connection. But me and Prince, it was just an instant connection. And so we started jamming together.
It's a love song that my great-grandfather composed, and we're gonna fuse with another bluegrass love song. सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी चस्मे दाजु झिल्के मिल्के जुल्फी मात्र कोर्ने चस्मे दाजु झिल्के मिल्के जुल्फी मात्र कोर्ने दारी जुङ्गा दन्त देखाई मेरो मन चोर्ने दारी जुङ्गा दन्त देखाई मेरो मन चोर्ने नजिस्काउन हे परुलाई हाय शिवर काकी छोरीलाई नजिस्काउन हे परुलाई हाय शिवर काकी छोरीलाई सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी
जन्म दिने भगवान त हुर्काइदिने आमा जन्म दिने भगवान त हुर्काइदिने आमा कसले हेर यति राम्रो पहिराइदियो जमा कसले हेर यति राम्रो पहिराइदियो जमा सानी सानी एझिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल तोरेकी सानी सानी एझिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल तोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल तोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल तोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो